All right. Hello, hello. Welcome to the Sunday Speedrunner Spotlight. I think we're on episode 43. The number is large, so it's hard to remember. But we're keeping it strong, keeping it going weekly. Love to see it. We have EZScape here today. Welcome, welcome.
Yo, yo, yo.
Excited to talk about some speed running, a good topic of conversation, I think.
Speed gaming.
Yes, speed gaming. Gaming with speed, as they say. So, you've been around a while.
Yeah. Well, okay. In terms of speed running, I
Yeah,
wouldn't
okay.
say so. I wouldn't say I'm an OG speedrunner. I'm an OG speedrun content creator, definitely.
That's fair. Yeah, it's
Like as
funny
far as YouTube
because,
goes, like
yeah.
edited like video essay content. Yeah, yeah.
It's just funny because, like, to some people, like 5 years is a long time, but then there are people that have actually been around for like 20 years, and it's like, oh yeah, forget about that sometimes.
Oh, dude, I'll go through SDA and I'm like, man, the like Speed Demos Archive, of course. Like,
Hmm.
just reading through all the old forum posts, like seeing Trihex pop up, and like just so many people that have been like around for just so long. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, quite a few of
All the
them are
old
still around. It's pretty cool.
GDQ guys, like the original GDQ
Hmm.
crew, for
Yeah,
sure.
classic GDQ. Yeah, quite a few of them are still around, still doing stuff. It's pretty cool to see. I mean, few of them even from like early 2000s still around,
Yeah,
which is ridiculous, but very cool to see. Because yeah, it's literally like 20 years. But yeah, so yeah, definitely you were one of the more like original speedrun content focused channels out there.
yeah. Back then, it was like there was three of us. There was literally three of us. It was me, it was Apollo Legend, and it was Summoning Salt.
Hmm.
And there was nobody else really. I mean, I'm sure other people posted content to YouTube, but just not in the format that we were doing it and not getting the traction that we were getting. So most people would only probably consider us.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so that
But
was
what's
like,
crazy is that, like, to interject real quick,
yeah.
like nowadays we have a speedrun YouTuber like Discord server that has
Hmm.
like over 60 people in it. Like, so
Oh yeah.
times are extremely different. You can find a specific like video essay content creator for whatever niche speed game you have at this point. They probably create it. It's probably there now.
Yeah. One of them have leaked it to me a little bit, so I just wanted to see who was in it, and I was like, wow, there's a lot of content creators now. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for every like genre of speedrun game or like specific franchise, just anything you can think of really that you're into, you can find like full-on content for it, not just the traditional upload a PB, even though there's still plenty of that.
Or upload a tutorial.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
tutorials are like halfway between regular stuff and content-focused stuff.
They're but the content, like the audience focus is just like no,
Yeah.
if people just format it, like that's a big thing, is like a lot of my videos just end up kind of just being tutorials. I'm like kind of just showing people how to do it, because but they're not formatted as a tutorial. So
Hmm.
the core audience is just ends up being people interested in speed running.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's almost like a lead into it. Like a lot of people I've seen like made tutorials and then became more content focused
Yeah.
creators.
Oh yeah.
So,
Like that's most of them. I would say that's most of them for sure. Like because first step one, you have to download the editing software, and that's what gets
yeah.
them to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Otherwise, they're
definitely
just
have to do
exporting
that.
from Twitch.
Hmm. Yeah, you can't make a full-on tutorial. Well, I have seen some that are just a live stream
Oh yeah.
uploaded, but
Nowadays, I feel like people aren't really doing it as much,
no, no.
which is good, because
Times
you
have
want people to
changed.
join your speed game.
Hmm.
Like you want people to join, and having a 2 hour requirement before you can, like essentially a 2 hour requirement before you can run a game, is a bit daunting,
Hmm.
and people just aren't going to do it. So you have to
Yeah.
make it accessible.
Yeah, that's definitely a long time. It's better to what I've always thought if I made a tutorial is to break it up into sections where, yeah,
Yeah.
you get them in early, and then if they really want the hard stuff, you can make like a whole other video about that, make like a whole thing,
Hmm.
and so people choose what they want to see and
Yeah.
don't get like a 3 hour long tutorial, like and half of it they
And
don't
then they show
even
you
need.
10,
Yeah,
yeah, like 10 different ways to do things.
yeah. So definitely plenty of ways to go about it, but yeah, I think that's a good lead into content focused stuff. But what do I know? No. I'm not there yet. We'll see. But anyway, to get back on track at the start of things, like did you start just with content or were you traditional speedrunner to start?
So I got into YouTube through RuneScape. That's how I initially built my first 5,000 subscribers. The name EZScape was that I wanted to create tutorials showing people how to like like making RuneScape guides, because basically I had like looked up something on YouTube for a specific thing I was trying to do. There wasn't a guide for it, and I was like, yeah, screw it, I'll just make it. And then like I just did all the research myself and did it. I was like, okay, well, if I'm gonna do this, maybe I'll do it more. And I quickly learned that there was basically a tutorial for everything. I kind of found the one or two things that didn't have tutorials. And I was like, well, I don't know what I'm gonna do now. I kind of want to make more videos. So I was doing more like essentially what would be a challenge run, not really like run focused, but I did like challenges in RuneScape where I would do a desert only Iron Man. So an Iron Man's an account in the game that can't trade. That already has that base restriction, but it goes even further that I couldn't leave the desert. So I did that back in 2014, and I did that for a couple years. And I eventually did make like old school RuneScape speedrunning content. A lot of times when I was playing RuneScape, I was watching speedruns on the side, and I noticed nobody was doing this. And those actually did get some traction because people would use them as tutorials. As I wanted to figure out, okay, how can we clear all the free to play quests as quickly as possible? So then people naturally were like, kind of, some people were curious about it. Then some people like literally had it side by side with their client, like just following everything I was doing. So I would say that's more so when I really got started with like anything involving speedrunning
Mm.
was with RuneScape even.
So yeah, it was a transition between RuneScape and then just normal like speedrunning,
Yeah.
whatever it is. Okay.
I quit RuneScape just due to like I was like, dude, this shit's like consuming too much of my time because to have an account that's locked to the desert, there's not a lot to do out there. I eventually found like I didn't start it knowing what my goals would be. I kind of just did it and figured it out along the way. And I learned that it was just taking up too much time. That's the long and short of it. Um, and I was in college at the time, so I just couldn't keep doing it. But I still wanted to make YouTube videos, so I had quit. I was like, "Hey, everyone who wants to unsubscribe, do it now. I'm gonna do something different." And I didn't know what I was gonna do. I didn't know what I was gonna do for like a month, and I was like anxious, like man, I spent all this time building this up and like have this community. Like I'd even post like updates of myself IRL back then, and those would even get like 1,000 or 2,000 views. So like I had like a core audience that was still, and that's for like 5,000 subscribers. And I'm not even posting a RuneScape video, just like, hey, this is how I'm doing. So I felt like I still wanted to make something, and it was Apollo Legend who I mean, he was the pioneer. He made like the very first edited speedrunning highlights and compilations, and I started watching those. Those popped up in my recommended pretty quickly because there was nothing else like it, and I subscribed to him, and then one day he posted a video saying speedrunning needs content creators. And after I saw that video, it was just like, man, I need something to make content about. And then that popped up, and I was like, I'll give it this a shot. And I started making videos about like I didn't want to copy him exactly. He was kind of like posting moments, like interactions that would happen with speedrunners in their runs. So yeah, it'd be a little bit of like rage stuff, but it would also just be like I don't know, just an interaction of them with the game that would invoke a reaction. So maybe they got good luck, maybe they got bad luck, maybe this happened. But I wanted to focus more on the speedruns themselves. So mine actually at the beginning had very little to do about speedrunners and ended up being a little bit more about biggest skips. What are the longest speed runs? What are the shortest speed runs? What are this? What is that? And then just making compilations of that.
Hmm. Yeah, I've heard
And
a
it worked
lot of
out.
people. Yeah, it did. I've heard a lot of people got inspired to make content off that uh, speedrunning needs content creators video. So it's
Hmm.
cool that it pulled in so many people, and now it's branched up into this huge genre of video creation that's really
Hmm.
popular on YouTube.
Yeah, like we always thought that it peaked, and then we would see new people like Point Crow, Small Ant, and then like Easy Speezy,
Hmm.
who was probably had the biggest glow up of anybody, just posting like random like speedrunning flash games. He was like the first one to really just kind of sit there and be like just speedrun every flash game in existence, and got like, nearly 3 million subscribers off of it. Like we thought that everything had peaked, and we were like, you can't get more than like like million views per video. Like that's a ton. And then he was just like, no, you can do it even crazier. And and then a lot of people branched out to just challenge runs because like just constantly doing speed runs of your own game isn't going to, like, once people see it once, they're like, all right,
Hmm.
we kind of get the idea.
Yeah. That's the unfortunate thing that I've noticed over time is like back in the day, you could get popular just being really good at a game and doing your traditional speedrun stuff. But now, because everything's changed so much, you like have to do some more like content focused stuff if you want to like make it in the
Hmm.
scene.
And you better hope that there's a modding community around your game that's able to create that content for you, or that your game naturally has enough content in it that you can branch out a bit. And if it doesn't, then you're kind of stuck. Otherwise, you have to pick up like other games.
Hmm.
Um, but as far as like I'm talking about YouTube, like streaming, I mean, I would say maybe depending on what you run, streaming's been both good and bad for speedrunning. Like as far as it's like progressed, but it's really like YouTube in terms of that you would have to come up with new ideas. People are willing to sit there and just like watch speedruns on Twitch, but
Hmm.
once people watch it once on YouTube, especially like GDQ, at least back then, was going to take most of the eyes of just an individual run. So a lot of people weren't going to even go and watch the world record, or especially not a third place run, if they
Hmm.
had already have that GDQ commentated run available.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. But you think like Siglemic back then was getting like 5-digit viewer counts. You'll never see that from a traditional speedrunner anymore. But that might be also because
Uh,
Twitch is so much bigger now and there's so much
I
other
mean,
places for the people to spread, but it's just something to
I,
note.
I wouldn't say you won't. I mean, Distortion 2 with Only Up was pulling those numbers not
Really?
too long ago.
All right, that's
I wouldn't say
impressive.
it's impossible, but I have you like there's a lot of factors in play. There's a
Sure,
lot of
sure.
factors. Like you would already have to have a huge audience, like,
Hmm.
and then it was a game that was popular outside of speedrunning. Where at this point, I mean, Super Mario 64 is, yeah, obviously still relevant
Hmm.
outside of speedrunning, but that's like the speed game, obviously. So
Yeah,
kind of gets a pass.
yeah. But I do remember when on YouTube there were a few notable speedrunners that all they do was just upload their PBs and they would pop off no matter what it was, which is fascinating because that just doesn't happen
Hmm.
anymore.
Algorithm was different back then.
Hmm.
Like somebody like Shift, I know, who speedruns Battle for Bikini Bottom. Like yeah, he would. I remember like he would just every time he got a PB, he would post it to YouTube, and it was doing really well, doing really well, doing really well, and he's getting all like just, the algorithm was boosting his stuff, and then eventually dropped off because uh people were just, when they click on a speed run, they just watch all of it, and then that watch time is what was allowing him to trend a lot. But eventually they ended up tweaking it, and yeah, for whatever reason, I'm guessing it was probably the click through rate, and people were like, okay, we don't want to keep clicking on this. Stop giving us this, and then YouTube
Mm.
tweaked the algorithm. So yeah, back then, yeah, the algorithm actually did allow those long vods to do really well, and then now it doesn't. And I think that was also why GDQ was doing really well back then too. I think it was the same reason.
Hmm. Yeah, I've never. I don't know like how the algorithm works at all. So it's interesting that it's like possible to know what changed, and you can see
Mhm.
that. Like that's just very interesting.
I have a pretty good grip on the algorithm. I know, like, even back then and even like now when I post a video, I generally know how well it's gonna do. Um, like before I even post it, like just based off of like how I know my audience and how I know, like, if I get this click through percentage and people watch it for this percentage of time, this is the outcome.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
there's a lot of randomness in it too. But I'm pretty accurate.
yeah. It's never gonna be spot on just because YouTube is such
Right.
a un like you can know as much as you know, but the algorithm is still something.
Yeah.
It does its thing. No one quite knows exactly how, but yeah, it's possible to like notice trends and figure it out from there.
Once you're like in the algorithm, like even like just once, then you can kind of I wouldn't say manipulate it, but you can kind of understand where the trajectory is gonna go.
Hmm.
But getting in there that first time is kind of tough. You kind of
Yeah.
have to have like because YouTube needs an audience to give data so that it can be like, so this type of viewer likes watching this, so that it can go branch out to other people that like similar stuff to that person. So if you don't have any data whatsoever, it's like impossible for them to do any type of ranking for you.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
So like my start was all I got all my views off Reddit. I did like social or not SEO search engine optimization. So a lot of it was coming from YouTube search and
Hmm.
like anything that wasn't like necessarily YouTube recommended. That's how I kind of got my start. Got my first 1,000 subscribers. After that, I got monetized, and once you get monetized, you have a much better chance at your videos trending or being algorithmically viable because
Hmm.
especially back then, and it's kind of changed a little bit now, but back then, yeah, if YouTube wasn't making money off your video, they weren't going to promote it as much.
Yeah, that makes
At least for the
sense.
recommended. They would still like there's recommended and then there's suggested, okay? And like so if you were looking at a C++ tutorial, yeah, you'd probably see other C++ tutorials suggested to you. Um and maybe those weren't monetized, but you were not going to get like a video that wasn't monetized recommended to you. They
Hmm.
were two kind of like separate things that you get in the sidebar.
Yeah, like suggestions like, oh, because you watched this, here's something similar recommended. It's like,
Mhm.
we're gonna try to promote this person to you based on things you it seems like you like. There's a difference.
A better way to think about it is like the recommended, yeah, it could be stuff on the sidebar, but it's more going to be stuff that you can be on your home screen too, where the
Hmm.
suggested was only going to pop up because you were watching like that tutorial. Like tutorials are a really good example because a lot of times they weren't monetized and you would still get like similar tutorials up. Or like a series, you'd get the next video in a series. So it was good to like number 36 and then number 37, then they would probably show the 37.
Hmm. So YouTube only shows suggested on the side when you're watching a video, and then the recommended's
No,
only.
no, it can be recommended or suggested, and I think
Okay.
that's changed. I think they do a lot more recommended now, where like
Hmm.
maybe the up next video will be a suggested pick, but like that was just back then.
I see. Yeah, it
Yeah,
definitely changes a lot. I guess now
it
that you
does.
mention it, I have noticed it. Like if I'm watching a series of videos, it sometimes will be hard to find the next episode in this
Yeah,
series now compared to what it used to be. Probably makes it
they've done
hard
a
for
lot
my
of
show.
tweaks. I don't know how often you go on YouTube, but I notice now when I go on my homepage, there will be a video, usually in the bottom right corner, that has like 100 views on it, which is actually like really cool. I
I've
actually
noticed
really
that like
like
the
that
past
change.
week
Yeah,
specifically, yes. And I'm like, what is
when that
this?
never used to happen.
Hmm. Yeah, that's
So that's
interesting.
pretty cool change that they did recently.
And then the top left's always an advertisement, which is
Yep.
didn't always used to be there, but that's also just something I've noticed. Yeah, I frequent YouTube quite a bit. I just don't like quite understand exactly how it works. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, I do find it all very fascinating though.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, definitely consume many types of content, but yeah, mainly speedrunning stuff for me. So,
I just like to have an understanding of, like, why something's doing well or not. I don't actually pick out a lot of the ideas I do based off of how I mean, there's, like, a minimum of amount of how well I think something needs to do before for me to do it, but, like, even then, so, like, what I would be like, "Okay, this video is likely to get 100,000 views, but this one's likely to get 300,000." I wouldn't only pick out ideas that would just be super popular, and you can't just do that because you'll run out of ideas. You can't just have infinite, like, ideas like that unless you can get enough people cheating in their speed runs, then you'll be okay.
Ooh. Yeah, you definitely, and you have to do stuff that you want to do too. Like, even if you know it's not going to do as well, just for
Yeah. Oh yeah,
you
just
wanting
just
to.
for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You
there's going to be a
what I
balance.
do is I sandwich them. I sandwich them between like the videos I know will do well, and I sandwich the ones that I think will do not as well, but will still perform pretty decently and do that
Hmm.
as well. Like a lot of people don't even notice, but I don't even know. I kind of feel like Carl does it on purpose, but like I feel like Carl does that as well, where you notice that his videos that don't do as well don't involve Billy Mitchell or speedrun cheaters. They'll be
Yeah.
like more speedrun history videos, and those videos wouldn't do. as well because but they do well, more like better than they would do because they're in between those like big videos, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I th-
Yeah,
it kind of just keeps you in the algorithm.
yeah, that's interesting because specifically on Carl, I like the videos about like cool things that have happened in speedrunning. Like usually
Hmm.
I've already known about it, but it's nice to like
Yeah,
get the word out there more. But and you'll hear people like, I'm so tired of this cheating stuff. Make these videos, and I kind of agree. But yeah, I mean the numbers are showing that obviously the other stuff, that's what people like watching. It's unfortunate that that just happens to be how YouTube works, I guess.
Carl's is built for it. I had only ever really made like I guess expose, like if you wanted to say like lack of better words, like expose videos whenever I felt like unless I did it, it the 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 outcome that I wanted to happen for the situation wouldn't occur unless I made a video. Like that was the only way.
Hmm.
And the times I did it, I was correct. Like, and I got the outcome I pretty much wanted. So, um, but yeah, but dude, those videos would put me in like mental ruin. Like they were not fun to make.
Yeah, I can't
So you
imagine that,
definitely
dude.
have to be like cut out for doing that type of stuff. But also another thing to think about is like Carl might be getting a second lawsuit right now, dude. I mean, I know this is a huge tangent, but I'm saying like
Yeah.
this is another reason why I don't want to be involved with this shit. I don't want lawsuits. I
Yeah,
don't want defamation lawsuits. Like I don't want this shit.
that's fair.
Yeah, he like the I recently he called out like a guy for like a completionist dude for like charity fraud, and like that guy fired back, and apparently there's gonna be stuff like that, and that can happen when you start
Hmm.
going out telling people that people are committing fraud and stuff like that, or really anything. A lot of people with resources don't need a lot to go after you if they just have a lot of money. So gotta be careful.
Yeah, yeah, that ties back to what I was saying. Like, it's incredible how well it does, and yeah, so obviously you want to
Yeah.
take care of that kind of business, but I just it gets old. Like, it's nice if it's informing, like if people don't really know about this, but if it's already well
Yeah,
known,
yeah,
like there's no reason to like bring more attention to it. And I do
yeah.
have like a personal experience with one of the videos that was something our community didn't want public
Yeah.
because we didn't
Oh
think it
yeah,
was a
was
big
it
deal.
probably that Luke? What was his name?
Yeah, yeah.
Luke Heck. Yeah,
Look,
we
yeah.
don't have to get into that,
Yeah,
but yeah, I think I know.
you know
I
what you
know.
know what it is, yeah.
Yeah, I
And
know what it is, and I mean it's
we
public, so
yeah,
like yeah.
exactly. But we were trying to like contain it because it wasn't a
Hmm.
big deal and we didn't want it to be a big deal because like at the end of the day it was all fine. And yeah, but we didn't know at the time, but we were like this isn't a big deal. We don't want to make it a big deal. So let's just keep it under wraps. And then all of a sudden I wake up and I see this video. Now it has like 3 million views. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And that just puts all the pressure on the moderators. And it's like, oh, great. Here
Hmm.
we go.
So like they're like, why aren't you doing something about it? Like we are, like we just
Have you
aren't
not
doing it
seen the
to the
like
pay.
10
Like
page document we've made? Oh, trust me. We've been talking about this a while. And
yeah,
again, it ended up being fine, which, yeah, we knew was likely going to be the outcome, but we still got to investigate. That's your job as a moderator. And
yeah. It's one of those things. Like especially if it's happening within a smaller community and it's contained and then also dealt with, it's like we don't need I guess somebody coming out and just being like, "Ha, look at this cheater! Like screw that
yeah.
guy!" Like I know there's been a couple of YouTubers that like speedrun content creators like that actually removed a couple of their cheating videos because they didn't like the like that people were really just getting that like level of hate
Hmm.
for what was essentially just cheating in a fucking video game. Like
Hmm.
pretty low stakes, pretty low stake. Like it's not cool, it's not great, and a lot of people are putting your um you're ruining other people's like times and achievements and kind of
Hmm.
but at the end of the day, it is what it is. It is literally like just a video game at the end of the
Like,
day. Pretty low stakes.
I'll admit it is interesting, but
Yeah.
some people use that as like rage bait or like that kind of
Mhm.
thing, and that's the unfortunate thing. That's why it's so popular. There's a lot of people that are like that, and I don't know. But to spin a more positive note and
Yeah,
talk
yeah, yeah.
about the other thing, so Carl also made that video about a Guinness World Record when they claimed a bunch of speedruns.
Mhm.
And that's something I liked. That's my
Yep.
example of something I do like, because that was informative. It made Guinness recognize something and take something down.
Yep.
And that was nice for me because, again, personally affected. They claimed 27 of my videos. And I was like,
Yeah,
okay, that's fun.
I think everybody in the SMB community just got
They
absolutely,
got
like,
destroyed.
slapped by them,
It was
like,
wild.
everybody, because all your guys' runs look too similar. You're all holding right, and you're all jumping.
Yeah,
The
except
same music and just everything looks the same.
like, what a wild idea from them. That was just a really
Yeah.
funny situation looking back. But yeah, but I mean, yeah, that's a good example of the opposite. Like what I think is a more positive thing. What I like about that kind of content. But
Mhm.
anyway, move.
Yeah.
Maybe we should focus more on you. So
No, that's I just wherever we go. But
yeah,
yeah, I'm good to put a pin on that. I think we
yeah,
talked
yeah,
everything we need to on that.
yeah. So you talked a little bit of what you were making when you started. Do you know what your first like speedrunning video was?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I know everything.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, yeah, my first one was the top 10 biggest skips in speedrunning. It was literally a trial video, like, and I'll talk about this in a bit. It was like, I was like, "I'm just trying something out, guys." I was like, kinda, I kinda just scrambled and put this, like, video together showing off all these, like, cool, like, skips and like really big skips I found in speedrunning and just like talked about it. But like the video, like the audio wasn't very good. Like the video wasn't edited very well. It was like something I was like kind of just doing in my free time. And I wanted to vibe check with my audience to see if they even liked it. And then, yeah, I hit the algorithm. And like within like 3 weeks, at first saying I got like 1,000, two or 3,000 views from my audience. And then it got posted on the speedrun subreddit, which was really good for me because it gave me a speedrun audience, like, because I'm sure people on that Reddit also watch speedrun stuff on YouTube. It gave me like that audience, and then after they watched and they watched the whole thing, they gave me a lot of feedback and whatnot. And then after that happened, it hit the algorithm. After 3 weeks, it had like 67,000 views, and then to date, it has like a million over. I don't know what it has anymore, but like it has over a million. So that was like the first that. So literally, I just hit I hit a viral video on my first try with barely trying.
So a good
That
trial
was
run.
the good trial run, but it definitely taught me something, and it's that you should always put your best effort into anything, especially if you're posting it online. I mean, not that I'm embarrassed about it or anything like that. I just recognize that I could have done better
Hmm.
for the time, and you never know when your breakout is going to be, or if you get one at all. But I'm saying if you do get one, you don't know when it's going to be,
Hmm.
and also that when you do have it, it could be down later, like later down the road, and people are then going to go to your backlog of content if they really did enjoy what ended up being your breakout video. So all of those need to be like on par, or
Hmm.
not. I mean, you still should improve like every video you make, but just have a level of like consistency, like consistency of the quality of the content throughout. And then I didn't really have that for that video or even the one after, or maybe even the one after, because after that I posted top 10 longest any percent speed runs, which was like a list of just Gran Turismo and then like 9 RPGs. Then there was just regular like longest speed runs, I think, and I did biggest skips part two. But the video that really, 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 really put the channel on um on the radar was top 10 accidental skip discoveries. That
Hmm.
one was that one was the big one because I finally had kind of figured out my rhythm with creating those videos, and it was a really, really, really cool idea. Because they had everything. You got the speedrun explanation, so like what you would get from the biggest skips, but then like what I was saying before with Apollo, you would have highlights of speedrunners interacting with their runs, and people like seeing that type of stuff as well. So it had both of those elements in it, all tied into one, and then also had that curiosity factor of like, oh, what kind of big skips could people find by accident? So it was like the perfect video to blow up, I guess. And it did within dude, I was a small channel back then. I was getting a little bit of traction off those first videos or whatnot, but I want to say I probably had like 20 or 30K subscribers. I had gone up from 5K to like that from those other videos I just mentioned, but that one, I remember waking up and like opening up my laptop. I'm like, huh, I wonder how my video is doing. You know, I posted that yesterday before I went to sleep, and I woke up, dude. For 6 hours straight, it was getting 50,000 views per hour.
Jesus. Okay.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
what? Literally 50,000 views per hour for 6 hours, and I was like, oh my god. Like, I remember my girlfriend at the time. I kept trying to like explain to her what was going. I don't know how she didn't understand. I'm just like, this is crazy. Like what? Like I remember eventually like down the road we were like watching a video that had like 200,000 views. I'm like, babe, you do realize I got that in like 6 hours? She's like, wait, really? I'm like, I swear I explained this to you, but like it was just like, what the heck was going on? Within 3 or 4 days, that video had 1 million views. I think literally within 4 days, had 1 million views.
Yeah. I mean, that
And
is quite unbelievable, so I understand. That's wild.
yeah, because I was also like a small channel, and I was just like, yeah. Then ever since then, uh, yeah, just I was like, all right. At some point, I eventually went full time and just kind of kept making the top tens.
Hmm. And correct me if I'm wrong, but that video is your most viewed video, right?
No, my most viewed video is Speedrun Cheater Goes Too Far.
Oh, of
That was
course.
when yeah, we were going right back to the cheating thing.
Yeah.
But that one was where Caveira Games was a Brazilian YouTuber that um cheated in a Forbidden Memories Yu-Gi-Oh run by he's playing an emulator, and he just made it so the cards the good cards came sooner. So
Hmm.
and then some I don't know if he submitted his runs or somebody else submitted them, but they got rejected, and he took that very personally, and then ended up copyright striking the world record holder because he's
Interesting.
pissed. And then, but that was that guy's like full like revenue stream. So I was just like, oh, we got to step in here. But yeah, that video, it's funny. My mom at her work was like training like a group of people, like about my age, right?
Hmm.
And she's like saying, "Oh yeah, my son does like YouTube or whatever like that," and like they're thinking that yeah, that it's like not expecting much. Like they're just like, "Oh
Hmm.
yeah, probably some like 20K channel, like it's doing whatever." And so she told him about it that day. That day, so when they went on break, they like loaded it up, and that was the video I posted. So they're looking at my channel, and it's like 16 hours ago, 600,000 views. Like they're probably like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, that's pretty high.
Yeah, no, the video got like 900,000 or 1 million in like 24 hours, something like
Good
that. That was
God.
probably the biggest like blow up video I had. But I mean, it's a speedrun cheating video. Like it's a cheat code to YouTube.
I see.
Just
Yeah.
expose videos. Like I know, like just that's how it works. I know recently, like H Bomber guy like posted up a whole video exposing like 8
Hmm.
different creators for like plagiarism and stuff, and that just shit just. It was a
Hmm.
4 hour video, and it got 7 million views in 5 days. Like,
I
yeah,
watched that whole thing. I mean, it
yeah,
is
yeah.
really interesting, and
It is.
I mean, that's the style that's good because I'm sure they get. I mean, they're still like popular creators, so it's nice to
Mhm.
like be like, hey, they're not okay, and now people are like, oh, and action was taken to like the most
Yeah.
talked about person, so like that's good.
Yeah.
That's when I think it's a good thing to do it, but it's a weird balance. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm no creator myself, so I can only
Yeah, the
speculate.
accidental skip discoveries video was amongst my most popular, like, on the channel to date for sure.
Hmm.
I'm
Um,
trying to even think what other ones, but, a lot of the videos just kinda sat there, like, that were in my backlog, that were just been up, while the channel's gone through several series of, like, getting a lot of views, yeah, I remember, like, our meme speedruns did pretty well too. Like, that's what, like, inspired, Small Ant to do, the pencil sharpening
hmm,
speed run, which also did really well for him.
yeah, yeah. A lot of
Yeah.
those meme speedruns do well, like Arcus and his burrito making
Yeah, no, that's
speedrun.
just legendary. That's so good.
I mean, it is really funny content, so it works out. But yeah, I brought up thinking that was your most popular video because, um, so a story I remember is we met at AGDQ 2020. 11059 introduced me to you, and I didn't know who you
Oh
were
yeah. Oh
yet.
wait, yeah,
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 yeah. Didn't know if you'd remember that or not, but I didn't know who you were
yeah.
yet.
Like
So
now I do.
yeah, of course. Like
It was so long ago, man.
That was a
Oh,
while. That
oh
was the
yeah, no, I
last.
remember.
That was a while ago, and that was the last AGDQ that was in person. Still, that's crazy to think about.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where I'm meeting so many people. I almost like forget all these people that
Mm.
I meet, and we didn't talk too much at all.
No,
So
yeah, it
if we
was
if we
quick
talked a little bit
interaction.
more, I definitely would have remembered.
But yeah,
But no, yeah, no, I remember now.
I brought that up because like I didn't know who you were yet, and after GDQ, I was like, all right, I'm gonna look up the channel, and I obviously am gonna go to the most popular one just to get an introduction, and it was that
Hmm.
video. And what was
Yeah,
weird was number one was Jarvitz finding what is it like Hold R in Ocarina of Time.
yeah, yeah,
He my the first GDQ I ever went to, he was my roommate.
yeah.
I just didn't know about this thing,
It's
and I was
probably
just like,
funny seeing him
oh,
there.
yeah. I was just like, oh, what a funny. It's funny how the circle goes, I guess. But
Yep.
yeah, just that's my funny story, I guess.
Yeah, because like when you make those videos, like you can kind of bring out the like niche or like more obscure parts of the community, and people aren't gonna know that those people are just like just like random like a couple hundred follower like Twitch streamers or anything like that. You kind of put a spotlight on anybody
Hmm.
because it was an interesting interaction that he had.
Hmm. Now, if you ever make a sequel to that video,
I
2-1
did.
flag
Too late.
despawn.
Too late.
Oh damn. Well,
I
if you
made.
make a
I have three of them. Wait, which one did you have though? What was the idea?
2-1 flag despawn lost levels. That was an accidental discovery by me,
Oh, really?
so that's why I'm shouting it out.
Yeah, I think I have a document somewhere of a couple more, but finding 10 is hard, and I was
Oh
always like
yeah,
making the
I
top
didn't realize
10.
you
But
made so many.
you can leave that in our Discord chat, and I'll have it
Okay.
there.
Yes,
I hear
very
one day
important.
I'm like, oh, maybe we'll find enough, but
It
I don't
saves
know if
it saves a whole 2.7 seconds. Like this is a big deal.
it's huge.
It's huge. But yeah, just accidental discoveries are really cool. So I mean, it understands why the videos do so well, but like
Hmm.
it's funny how like groundbreaking they can be.
Well, how I would always approach videos back then, and it was pretty easy because I was a speedrun noob. Like even though I said like I had done those old school RuneScape speedruns, I wasn't really doing like they still weren't even like proper speedruns. Like I wasn't part of a leaderboard. I wasn't part of like doing. I didn't have like really like splits because I'd have to make a new RuneScape account each time. So I wasn't even doing resets. So it wasn't like the traditional stuff. It was just that I was watching it. So I was fortunately had the general audience mindset when I was making my videos. I was like, what am I interested in? Because then it ended up being what other people were interested in too, that other people wanted answered. So that like definitely benefited me back then. That I just didn't know too much, and I was kind of figuring it out along the way. But it was always like the curiosity factor was what I used to call it in terms of how well a video will do, because you kind of want to create a video that answers a question that somebody has never asked themselves, has never went out to like look for, and the only way they're going to know is if they click on that video.
Mm.
So that's how those top 10s did so well, because they would satisfy that random question that I presented for them, and they're like, well, now I want an answer. Let me click.
What are those top 10 speedruns of all time or whatever? Yeah.
Well, I always try to go with something that was like, I guess not like arbitrary, that was like
Yeah.
quantifiable a lot of times, because then it would just become. I mean, I did have some that were, and then I didn't end up liking them, so I eventually like kind of
Hmm.
phased out. So it would always be something that we could like quantify. Like I remember like top 10 theoretical longest speedruns like is a good example of like
Hmm.
what are the theoretical one. But then I was actually we were actually able to like it was a numbers game at that point, so I enjoyed making
Hmm.
those ones a bit more.
Yeah, you can make an official calculation. So
Yeah.
you're not lying. It's like, yeah, these are the longest. The math checks
Yeah.
out.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
Exactly.
yeah, when I said top 10 speedruns of all time, I was kind of making fun of Watch Mojo
Oh,
because
yeah,
they
yeah,
have
yeah,
that
yeah.
really, really bad video. I love making fun of it.
Well, they had that. I remember for a while there was, The Gamer. That was the channel
Oh,
The
yeah, I've
Gamer,
heard of that.
yeah, and they were copying all of me and Apollo Legends, they were taking, like, all of our videos,
Really?
and they were just, like,
Wow.
they were just cropping or putting a black square over like, number. It's
Hmm.
funny because all of my videos have the video sources in the description, but not only that, I was asking for permission for, like, anytime somebody's face was on camera, especially, I would try and get permission for those
Hmm.
because maybe they, even though they're publicly broadcasting their face, I wanted to make sure like they were fine with like that interaction of
Yeah,
what
it's going to
happened.
be a larger audience, so yeah, it's
Yeah.
good to ask
Even
about.
though I didn't have to, even though it
Hmm.
was fair use and all that, but it was just funny that like I even had people like some people say no, and then eventually like were like watch my content and later like okay, yeah, I trust this guy. Like this is fine. And
Hmm.
then just for me to go through all that effort, put in all the links in there, for them to just like download my video and then use that clip out of the downloaded video, like so lazy, just
Oh
so
my god.
lazy, and just basically just yeah, they were doing like basically just doing plagiarism. They were just like taking our words and just like switching it all around and trying to make it was a content farm where they just
Hmm.
hire like a thumbnail maker or like a script reader, a guy to make the script, and then an editor, whip it all together, and
Hmm.
then so another group of random three people would do the next one, regardless of how much they actually knew about the topic.
Yeah, it's fascinating how much plagiarism there is in like speedrun content creation that I've seen. So because yeah, there's that. I know one example is Disney stole from Summoning Salt, like script and footage.
Really,
Mm.
I didn't know that.
In 2017, they had that ESL Speedrunner show, if you remember that.
No,
No? All right.
don't. I know. I didn't. No, I had no idea about any of that.
Okay. So it was a Disney XD thing. They used to have some like gamer block or something.
Yeah.
And a show they had was like ESL speedrunners, and they like flew some people to like somewhere in Europe and like interviewed them and like had them kind of do some attempts and would make like 30-minute episodes out of that content.
Hmm.
And yeah, I remember like this came out as I just found out what speedrunning was. So it was like I'd only first watched my first Salt video like a week before like the Mario 1 episode aired, and I'm like, "Oh, cool." And I knew the person that was in it, so I was watching it. And even back then, I could see Salt's content there like because he would like in his Mario 1 video, like his first video, he would put like the in this specific font, put like the time, the runner, the date it was performed in the
Oh
bottom
yeah.
right, and that was in the video. And there's some videos on YouTube comparing their script to his, and it's just like the H bomber guy video. You just like move it around. Yeah, it's the same thing,
Yeah.
and I just find that very fascinating. So there's that
There's been.
example.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so
Oh,
there was that example, and then there's like, with AI now, they're like copying
yeah.
speed running videos for some
I
reason.
was gonna
It's just
say
weird. Yeah, it's just so weird.
'cause Abysssoft apparently had
Hmm.
some like AI, some videos stolen from AI, and they like it made like the whole thumbnail, and it like just got random, took some footage from I think from his video, but like it just found footage and
Hmm.
like made a mostly cohesive. I mean, for a random robot that doesn't know what's really going on, like kind of kind of weird. That's and obviously this is like just the beginning. You know, that wasn't the end. That's not the last we're gonna see of it. So it's pretty weird.
Yeah, just weird the correlation here between speedrun content and plagiarism.
Yep.
No wonder cheating does so well, I guess. But yeah,
So
just an interesting correlation. But yeah, I remember. I don't know the timeline of your content creation all too well, so I might be skipping around a bit. But I remember a few years ago you were doing like speedrun highlights, where
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I have two channels. You notice my main one is mostly vacant at this point, and I mostly just focus on my second channel. But for a while, I like, I was like, we don't have like a community channel, or at least if we did, I felt like that the community channels that were going on at the time weren't doing it as well as I thought I could.
Hmm.
And it was also I had the perspective. I was like, well, with the second channel, if we just post more and more and more, like just post as much as possible, that would be more beneficial. So I had like hired an editor, and then I got I know everybody in the speedrunning community, so it's very easy for me to get permission from everybody. Like even like big people that nobody else could get permission for, like Dark Viper, like Small Ant, like just like
Hmm.
people that would probably say no to anybody other than me. So I was able to make like more unique videos. I felt, and then yeah, we were just making like a weekly highlight of just the best stuff that happened in the speedrunning community for that week. People could submit to it, and we just look around and like get permission for clips if we found anything, and we did that for a while. But the series kind of went in a downwards trajectory in terms of like views. Like the videos just weren't getting recommended out at all,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just what was happening with that channel is because it wasn't a speedrun highlight channel. It was my second channel for me to post my speedrunning stuff because my main channel wasn't about me at all. My main channel was always about just like broader speedrunning concepts and then compilations. So it was never about me, where this channel was supposed to be about me and what I was doing. And then it suddenly turned into broader speedrun compilations and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. And what I'm trying to explain here is that that channel, like 50% of the I don't know the numbers, of course, but like let's just say 50% of the people that were subscribed to the channel were subscribed for me, the videos that I was posting about myself and what I was doing, and then 50% of the people were subscribed for the speedrun highlights. And what happens whenever you have an audience that isn't interested in content that you're posting is that it suffers severely. It would be like you posting like the Super Mario Bros. Content or just Nintendo related stuff in general, and then you went and posted like Bubsy 3D. I mean, you could probably pick like a popular Sony title instead of that, but like
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to do as well. Just
No.
flat, it's just not going to do as well because you cultivated an audience that's interested in this thing, and then you just threw something else at them.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, the because of 50% of the audience being subscribed for me and that video not being about me, made the community highlights suffer. And because people were subscribed for the community highlights, it was making the videos about me or like my highlights. Those were also suffering,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like dragging the whole channel down. So like although they weren't doing terrible, um, when you do a series like that, you kind of want it to go up, up,
Mm-hmm.
and or at least maintain once you get to a certain extent. But what was happening is that we peaked at like 100,000 view video, then went down to like 80K, 70K, 60K, 40K, 30K. It was like kind of just in there at like 20, 30K. And I was like, I knew we could be doing better than this. And it was also really hard. Like, I thought that we'd be able to find more highlights of like if we're talking any video game in existence being speed ran, that we'd be able to find enough highlights to make a good video, and that just wasn't the case. We probably needed to do like 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
There's just not that actually that much interesting happening in speed running like that would facilitate like a a video highlight reel, I guess. Like other than like okay, maybe there will be a world record happening, but like even those aren't going to be happening super super often. So I ended up just discarding the series because I was like, my own projects are going to suffer from this stuff that I want to do, and we're not going to do this forever anyways.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to be doing this infinitely. So and also around that time, like people like speedrun. There was like two like random channels called Speedrun Fails and then Glad Jonas.
Mm-hmm.
They lost monetization, even though they
Ooh.
had permission for their clips. Even because the videos weren't transformative enough, they actually lost monetization. So I think I got out at like the perfect timing because it would have been really bad for that to happen to my channel, so that I couldn't even like monetize my work that I was doing.
Interesting.
So it was good for the time. Um, but yeah, it was putting a wrench in the whole channel. What I ended up doing to fix all of that, because just because I stopped the series doesn't mean those people are unsubscribed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean like the problem still exists because I mean like those people are that's pretty much it. Those people that were subscribed for it didn't unsubscribe. So what I had done, and I had other reasons for doing this as well, is I started just doing Yu-Gi-Oh speedruns because I was getting really stressed out with just speedrunning in general that I wanted something where it had mostly luck. Like so I was kind of just in the passenger seat, right? And I was just kind of just enjoying uh the ride. And but the point of that is that it wasn't going to be super popular. It's going to be very like niche because not only you need people that are interested in Yu-Gi-Oh, but like even further, they have to be interested in Yu-Gi-Oh speedrunning. So I just got tons of people to unsubscribe from the channel. I was going live like every day on that channel, sending out notifications, posting YouTube like Yu-Gi-Oh highlight videos and all this stuff. And I had this like goal of purging my audience. I wanted everyone to unsubscribe. I was literally posting all these videos that like people that would be interested in those highlight reel, the speedrun highlights wouldn't be interested in this shit. So they were all unsubscribing. I was losing like thousands of subscribers. I was like, this is perfect, which is the absolute opposite you would expect from a content creator.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew in doing that the audience that would be left over after the fact would be people that were genuinely interested in me. Like, in order to watch this stuff, even if you weren't interested in Yu-Gi-Oh, you'd partially have to be like interested in me and what I was doing. And after I felt like the purge was good and I was done speedrunning Yu-Gi-Oh, I hopped back on with doing like licensed game speedruns, which I knew would be successful, and I was correct. And I didn't have like an audience that was there that was holding those videos back at all.
Mm-hmm.
So plan well executed, and I did it. It
Yeah.
was good. Goodbye, people that don't like watch Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I did really enjoy those videos, so it's a shame that the circumstances were what they were. I mean, it makes perfect sense, but
Yep.
I mean, it's weird because even to this day, there's not really something like that. I know there was Rush,
Mhm.
and they were making like kind of that highlight stuff, but they're gone. And it's like, does it
Well,
just not do well, or
no, we learned that yeah, it just
it
can't
just
do
doesn't do
well.
well? Okay,
That
fair
like
enough.
videos need to have like a certain like like an idea. Like there has to be an idea and a payoff, and just like random speedrunning highlights just like it's hard to get people on board with it. Like I thought the format that we did, in like that's the thing is like people did enjoy it. Like they
Hmm.
weren't bad videos. There was nothing like really just wrong about them. They just weren't gonna ever appeal to a broad audience. And again,
Yeah.
it was more so the fact like if we had just done this from a third channel from the start, we may have just continued doing it for even longer.
Hmm.
But that wasn't the case. I was like, I can't even go do any of my own ideas now because they're just gonna be stunted because of this.
Hmm.
So it was like necessary that I had to do that. But no, I mean, there's still, like I said, there were still 30,000 people tuning in every time. That's 30,000 people that have a vested interest in this continuing. There was people not very happy about it,
Hmm.
but I would say like 90%, 95% maybe even were understanding of it, and
Hmm.
we're just looking forward to whatever I was gonna do next.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
it is what it is.
yeah, the decision made perfect sense. It's just a shame, like, and I guess
I
that's.
have a I have a better example is that because I was like, okay, this isn't successful. So maybe we only do a monthly one and I instead do it on the
Mhm.
main channel, right? And we'll just do like entire speedrun news instead. And I thought so I'm picking the best out of the best like community highlights that we would have for a month, and it would be fully video essay because I was like thinking people were like there's not enough commentary or whatever. So we're
Mhm.
just addressing all the issues people had, putting on a bigger platform, and then it wouldn't be damaging and it would be more general, which is what the main channel was all about. So we did that, and it was really successful because episode 1 was about Dream cheating and
Mm,
speedrunning.
of course. Yep.
And then the second episode didn't do well at all comparably. And here's why the speedrun news stuff can't be successful. And I was literally looking at my charts. First of all, people the main like what would I say like the premier like idea I guess or like the main concept we would have that up on the video. So I guess like the second one we were talking about how the first person completed the first GTA 5 damageless run, right? And then after that it would go into another thing, and then it would go into another thing and another thing and another thing. And what we were finding is people were coming for that first idea, and then there with each next segment there'd be a drop off
Hmm.
and a drop off and a drop off, and every time like a portion of the audience would leave exactly when we'd finished talking about that. And when you're competing with other videos in the out like in the recommended that don't have that discrepancy happening, their videos aren't doing that because have to wait for the payoff of the idea that they clicked on.
Mhm.
For mine, we had multiple payoffs and multiple ideas, so just constantly like trailing off. The videos just also weren't algorithmically viable. Like that, like if you're gonna do something like this, you just need to make individual videos. Like it would have been even just better just to make a bunch of like 5-minute or 10-minute videos of like those individual ideas than to have made like a speedrun news video. So,
Mhm.
unfortunately, that format didn't work either, and I instantly discarded it because I was like, "This isn't gonna work either. If we're gonna do this, we're just gonna do what everybody else is doing and make, um, more thorough video essays over specific ideas if we're gonna do anything at all." So,
Mhm.
yep, won't work. That's why every single person that has tried doing that has not been like again, like even like you said, Rush,
Mhm.
they never broke out and never went up at all, other than when they were making the GDQ highlights. Like,
Mhm.
just it's not viable,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah. Very unfortunate because yeah, there's definitely a group of people, myself included, that thinks that's really good to watch. Like
Yeah.
now you're showcasing all these people, they can get a little bit more viewership, eyes on
Hmm.
them, and as like a speedrun enjoyer, you're now learning about all this cool other happenings going on right now. And yeah, that's super interesting to me, and I'm sure a lot of people. But yeah, I can see
Yeah.
it
I like.
not generally being the same way.
I like that people were getting exposure, but I don't think what people were like, wow, now speedrunners can't like break out or whatever. I don't think people were realizing towards the end of it, it was just the same like 10 people. It
Yeah,
ended up
it
being
kind of was.
CZR on the drums. It would end up being Deo Man with Spyro. It would end up being the same 10 people getting the exposure every time, anyways. So it wasn't
Yeah.
like it was very rare that we'd have like new people on, anyways. So like it, even like that goal wasn't being satisfied. Like people
Yeah. Okay.
already at this point knew who all of these people were. So it was time to move on. I mean, I've had other ideas and stuff like that that just didn't work out, and then I had to go back to the drawing board. I like I said before we started the podcast here, I had done like a weekly speed run like showcase, and I would have a speedrunner come on, like we just talk about their run, we do that, and then my idea was that we'd edit the highlights and post that over on the second channel, and then we'd have the VOD channel. But what I ended up noticing is like people weren't coming in every week because they knew about they knew that it was happening. They knew that I'm like, oh, it's speedrun Saturdays. It's happening on Saturday. Like, let's go watch this now. Like let's set this in the calendar. Let's go. It was more so, oh wow, I got a notification for this on YouTube. Let's go watch. Like
Hmm.
it's any other live stream. So it was like ended up just not being anything special to me, and it wasn't worth the work that we were putting in. We were actually losing money off of it. So at
Hmm.
some point, it was going to have to end anyways. So that was like another idea that I tried that wasn't successful. And hey, back to the drawing board.
Yeah, I do remember that too. That was pretty
Hmm.
fun. But yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it makes
it was like
sense.
fun. It just wasn't like none of these ideas were bad. Like they all were like seemed viable like in my head, and like they
Hmm.
weren't doing bad. They just weren't like do like if you're doing a show like that, your idea is that you want the show to do better every week. Therefore, after,
Hmm.
and it wasn't. We weren't getting any traction with it. So it was just like, and especially when I know I have ideas, I know that I can just post a video essay, and that would give me those results. Then why am I doing this? Why am
Hmm.
I having a Bscape drive an hour out and then spending money on gas, and then we're doing this for like people that like are only going to come for again like whatever we're streaming the idea, and there's no recurring audience. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah,
just didn't work out. It
yeah.
was worth a try.
It's always worth a try. You don't know until you try.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a shame how weird YouTube algorithm is.
Yeah,
Because like all
but
these ideas that sound cool and I mean are cool just
yeah,
don't hit, they don't stick.
I mean, the YouTube algorithm is still like, at the end of the day, it's based off interest, and
Hmm.
so if people aren't like, if your videos aren't doing well, it's because people aren't interested. Like that's the hard truth of it. Um, it,
Or not
it
enough people are interested.
yeah, not enough. Yeah, it's you end up getting exactly what like literally the metrics they're using to promote to decide if videos are good or not are if people are clicking on it. That's step one, and if people are watching it,
Hmm.
which seem like pretty good metrics to decide if like in a general idea, it seems like the best way to decide if a video is good or not.
Hmm.
Which is why like okay, again, H Bomber video. There's a reason why it has 7 million views after 5 days because people are clicking on it and people are watching it. And
Mm-hmm.
because it's a 4-hour video, and I'm assuming like his watch percentage is insane, he's just outperforming every video on the platform uh because of that.
Yeah, it was like the video when it came out.
hmm
Yeah.
There's other videos too. Like you can get a lot like views can get really skewed. Like I'm not even saying just like longer videos. Like views can get really skewed when you start posting like shorter videos too, because everyone has time to watch a video for 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
That's why like on TikTok and stuff, you'll see videos with like tens of millions of views. Because yeah, people didn't have it was pretty low stakes for them, like time investment wise.
Mm-hmm.
Or when you're posting like a 10-minute long plus video, it's harder to get like 10 million people on board with it. So
Mm-hmm.
it'll be
Yeah.
really captivating, really and really you just gotta know what you're doing. You have to know what appeals to people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes sense. But
Yep.
yeah. Yeah. Again, it's just a shame that cool things don't always do well.
Yep.
But that it is what it is, I suppose.
hmm
But yeah, so now on this second channel, what I guess I should go more into it because I didn't like talk about it at the start. I just went into the highlights. But what did you start doing on the second channel? What did it start with?
So initially that was the VOD channel. That
Oh,
was
just
like if I
VODs.
did if I did speedruns I did on Twitch, I'd just go post that on the VOD channel. And it was just naturally called EZScape speedruns because EZScape speedrunning. And
Mm-hmm.
then um I was eventually like I don't know, I was just like inspired by other people to do like small ant or whatever. I was like, yeah, if I hire an editor and I just like go do this run and the editor puts it together, it's not like a ton of it's not any more work on my end really, and we could have and I'll just see how it does. And I did a bunch of promotion on my main channel, and I started in the first one. I was like, okay, we're gonna do an iCarly 2 speed run. I remember I did so much promotion for the second channel too. I was like, whenever we hit this subscriber number, I'm giving away 20 copies of iCarly, of iCarly 2, and
Thank
like all
God
this
that'll
stuff.
get him.
So I would say, yeah, what's that?
I just said, oh, that'll get him.
Yeah, that was where the channel first. I guess that's where the channel really began. But I did get a couple of thousand subscribers from those first. So like the channel was already monetized by the time I started, which is
Mm-hmm.
good. Um, yeah, I started doing that, and then yeah, just started speed running random stuff, and I would just get behind the mic and just like talk about like anything that I didn't want to do on the main channel, and I just want to kind of like give like a brief like maybe a reaction to. I didn't do a lot of reaction videos, but just like you reaction format though, I guess where I'd be watch something for a second, like talk about it. I guess
Mm-hmm.
I started doing a couple of those, but just do commentary videos of just like edited like this, like it'd be like me just talking, and we'd edit it together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, I was doing that for a while, and um, I eventually had just I don't really want to get into this, but so we'll probably just pass right after I mentioned. But yeah, I kind of just moved off the channel for a little bit and just took a break on content creation for a while after Apollo passed.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but
Yeah, that's fair.
I was doing that up until then, and then I later even after that, after I took my hiatus, I had hired a couple people to do commentary for me, like the Rickster, Ricky, and Beascape. A couple of people came on, did some guest appearances, and we did that until we stopped doing the community highlights, and then I did the Yu-Gi-Oh thing, like I said, and now we are to current date where we've strayed from the speedrun highlights, and now I'm making video essays
Mm-hmm.
for speedruns now, like speedrun explained, similar to like Tomato Anus, I suppose. But
Mm-hmm.
Tomato Anus generally is like covering speedruns over world records, where mine are usually over my runs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
so almost like easy speasy, but like a little
hmm
more uh informative about the
Yeah.
game and how you
So
perform the actions.
the difference between like me and Easy Speasy, and whenever I try and explain this, I'm not like I think he's great in what he does, and it's never anything like disparaging towards him about it. I'm just saying like whenever I do it, I spend a bit more time with my games,
Hmm.
Because I have like certain goals and like I really want to get like a certain time, I guess, in these games because I'm only ever gonna make it once, I guess. And then they're also scripted, where his videos are like more like live commentary. Like he, so that is like the point I'm trying to make is that
Hmm.
he's doing a live commentary of a speed run. He's not resetting or anything. It's just like that one go, right? Where
Yeah.
I'm doing like a bunch of I mean, I think sometimes he does post commentary, but like mine is like just the culmination of like weeks and weeks or whatever, and then I make a thorough like scripted speedrun essay. So they're very similar videos, but our goals are different.
Yeah, you do it more of the like traditional speedrunning route, where you
Yeah.
actually ha- have a goal in mind and put in all attempts to do it, and then talk about like the journey there, which
Yep.
is gonna be a lot more to go over than just doing
Yeah.
something for fun and explaining it that way.
Yeah. Trying to get as good as I can get in a game within 2 to 3 weeks. Like you can get pretty good at a game within 2 to 3 weeks. You can't really get to that like world record or like that the finer like minutes that you're shaving off because now you understand like the deeper core of the game. But I do like try and learn every skip that a world record holder will do, so I can ideally get it within 2 to 3 to 5 tries, I guess, and I will do them in the run, but obviously it's just not going to be to the level of this guy that has been running the game for like I don't know, like it sucks that I have to sit there and like compare myself to like I don't know, like liquid Wi-Fi with hit and run. It's like I'll look back, I'm like, oh wait, this dude's been running this game for 8 years full time. Yeah, it's like how, and then I ran it for like a month.
Hmm.
So
Like, yeah, I mean, as long as you're achieving what you want, like, yeah,
yeah.
it's not worth comparing to the greats. Like, that's just a
Oh yeah,
recipe
I
for
don't even I don't
disaster.
even really submit to leaderboards, to be
Mm,
honest, which people are like, "You should because then it, like, helps out the community." I'm like, but by doing that, I feel like I'm, like, comparing myself to others or, like, I'm competing with others, and I'm only competing with myself. That's
hmm.
the thing. Like, I get that's not only the point of leaderboards, but saying for me doing that, that's the feeling I get, and I will use other people's runs for inspiration and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, it kind of just defeats the purpose of what I'm doing. So I don't end up submitting to leaderboards a lot. I mean, they're leaderboard verifiable. They're public videos and everything
Hmm.
like that, and people can use them. But at the end of the day, it's EZScape speedruns. I'm just in it for my own journey and self improvement.
Yeah, I think that's a great mindset to have, actually. But yeah, yeah, I get why not wanting to. Like, yeah, it's totally fine to not. Like, you're not forced to submit your runs to leaderboards ever.
Yeah.
Like, that's the other thing. Like, people freak out a lot about like, oh, I want to do this category, but there's no like leaderboard for it, so I can't do it. But it's like, just do it. I mean, you don't need a
Yeah.
leaderboard for it. Like, just go off. Who cares?
Yeah, do it. Start interacting with the community about it if you find it fun. Be like, "Hey, dude, do you wanna go race this? Do you wanna go
Hmm.
race?" And then, like, maybe they'll try and be, and then you can have a little self-competition, and it's like, "Oh, well, now that we have, like, 5 runners for this, and this is more popular than any of the other category extensions, maybe now, yeah, they'll go and make it into a real category."
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, yeah.
Maybe.
The
Or
point
you can just
is,
have fun with it.
yeah, just yeah. That's the takeaway for sure.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so back to the main channel. We kind of just went over like the beginnings of it, I guess, but how has it gone over the years to where we are now?
I would say the main thing with it is the reason why I stick to the, because people are always wondering, like, dude, why do you post these? Because now they're speedrun essays. Like I said, why do you post
Mhm.
these speedrun essays on the second channel with like a fraction of the subscriber number to this main compared to the main channel? And the biggest difficulty with it is like and I did say earlier, there's a lot more speedrun content creators, so the options for ideas, there's like a lot less, I think. I still do have ideas, but I don't have infinite ideas. I have infinite ideas almost for the second channel.
Mhm.
Maybe not infinite, but I do have like my
It'll be
entire next
really
year is,
fucking hard to not have ideas
yeah,
for it.
yeah, because I'm just speedrunning games at that point. But like for
Mhm.
the main channel, it's like I'm pretty much nearly out of top 10 ideas that I could do. There are some like broader. I'm not gonna say what the ideas are. I do actually plan on returning to the main channel next year. Um, I just haven't really been able to put focus on it because I'm posting these really long speedrun essays on the second channel, and like if I post a 50-minute, let's say I post a 50-minute speedrun essay on the second channel, that is the equivalent, nearly the equivalent of posting like 10 or sorry, 5 10-minute video essays. Like as far as the scripting, the audio edit, like all of that, it's the same amount of time. About, I mean, obviously for each idea there would be a different level of research, but just like the I'm spending more time on videos now than I ever have been before. So I just don't have that little bit of extra time.
Mhm.
I am trying to find like editors so that I can more focus on it, but there was also a amount of pressure for me to like, if I do post a video on the main channel, that it needed to be better. Like there will always need to be a certain level of improvement, and as I get better and better and better, it was just harder and harder and harder. So it was just like lack of ideas, the pressure of like needing to make even better videos, and then yeah, like I just can't go post like, and then yeah, I guess the last thing was like, okay, I still didn't really answer why am I not posting those videos and making the second channel on the main one. And again, the main channel was always broader video essays that had nothing to do with me, and they were always like 10 to like 20 minutes long, right? So why would I go and take a 50-minute video about a very specific game that's, I guess, more involved with me, and go throw it on that channel? Like it's not going to do well because it's not like people were interested in like, oh yeah, well, like what's a top 10 over this speedrunning concept, but maybe not like a Family Guy speedrun. And it also circles back to what I said earlier about how the speedrun highlights compilation on the second channel wasn't doing well because of the split audience.
Mhm.
So there actually is, the main channel's audience would actually hold those videos back from being able to go out into the algorithm. So I actually just couldn't post those on the main channel. They won't. I could post the same video on the main channel as to the second channel, and it will not perform as well. I'm very certain about that because I actually have posted a couple videos of like individual games, and they didn't do as well. Like I
Mhm.
just can't do it. I would only post them on that main channel because I didn't personally speedrun them, but I realized I'm like, okay, if I just post the videos of that format, they're just gonna have to go up on the second channel, even if I'm not speedrunning them.
Mhm.
It's just, again, fortunate reality of the YouTube algorithm. But yeah, if YouTube sees that your core audience doesn't enjoy a specific type of content, they're not going to watch it. Like they're not going to promote it. Sorry.
Mhm.
So, so yeah, if I do return to the channel, I do still want to keep that. It's gonna have to be a broader concept again, and I want it to be really good. So it's gonna be something I'm working on for a couple months, right?
Mhm.
So even when I do officially get back to working on videos for it, it's not gonna be up there immediately. It's gonna be well curated because I don't have infinite ideas anyways. So
Mhm.
the idea would be to just pick out the best of the ideas I still have, and then execute them in the best way I possibly can, and just every couple months maybe drop a video.
Mhm.
But I'm full time on that second channel, and if anything, I'm more financially secure and stable with doing that second channel than they've ever been with the main channel. A big
Mhm.
reason why is because well, I do put a sponsor in every video, and I wouldn't always put a sponsor on like main channel video because if I have a 10-minute video, well, how about this? Let's say I have an 8-minute video and I put a 1 minute sponsor on it. Now, 1 minute of that video is now eaten up kind of with
Mhm.
people skipping over it. And it would make the video not viable because I put a sponsor on it. The watch time percentage would drop down dramatically compared to other videos on the platform. So it just wasn't as viable to put sponsors on a lot of videos. Where on the second channel, the videos are like 30 minutes to an hour long. That 1 minute doesn't really take up that percentage as much, where I can still be competitive in the
Mhm.
algorithm. So that's been a big thing, is that it's viable for me to put sponsors on those. And the videos are also longer, so I get paid more per thousand. So like um it's not realistic for me to post on the main channel and get a million or even on the second channel and get like a million views per video like how I was before. It's just not realistic. Like, and it was never going to stay consistent. Everybody's going to have a drop off of some extent. But I'm again, we have the sponsor in mind, but I'm just saying with base ad revenue, I get paid about the same for like a 200,000 view video as a that's like 50 minutes long than a about the same for a million view video that's 10 minutes long in the main channel. So it's just been more financially viable for me to do it. And again, it's not just the financially viable. I also just enjoy making the content more. I also um yeah, the infinite ideas and like it all just works better for me. And then I don't have the time to work on the main channel stuff because it just does take a ton of time to make.
Hmm.
So that's kind of why the main channel's just been sitting there. It's like I don't have the time for it, I don't have the motivation for it, and yada yada yada.
Yeah, I mean, makes perfect sense to me. So yeah, it is
Yeah.
something I've
I just
noticed.
haven't really explained it ever
Yeah.
like to anybody. I think at some point, whenever I get back to the main channel, I do want to put like an explanation out of like because dude, I will get a random like I could probably check my YouTube app now and go scroll for a second. Somebody be like, "You, I thought you died." I'm like, "Oh well, that's a conclusion that could have easily been figured out if you just went to the because they're saying it because I didn't post in the main channel,
Hmm.
so they'll go to. I'm like, dude, just click on the description. There's Twitter, Discord. There's like 50 ways you can verify my alive status, dude."
Yeah, that's
And they're like,
wild.
they're like, you didn't tell anybody about the second channel. I'm like, dude, if you go to again, go to that channel and you just look for a second, you can find it. Like I understand that if didn't post recently and then tell people about it, but in any recent video, I do promote, I do that,
Hmm.
I do that thing you're telling me I don't do.
Yeah,
I do that.
they're the ones with the
But
skill issue. I don't know what they're
and
talking about.
yeah, well, then they're also like, dude, I couldn't find this channel. I'm like, yes,
It's right
you did.
there.
You how'd you comment
Try
here? How did
harder, please.
So I'm saying, like, how do they comment on the video saying they can't find the channel? They commented on the video on the channel.
Oh my god,
It was so funny, dude.
people are
But
wild.
but yeah, it still does confuse. Like, I understand why people are based like on the surface level confused. Like, why don't you post video on bigger channel? You get a bigger view. I'm like, well,
Hmm.
that's actually not the case, and I have the data to prove that.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then also I do have to think about these things as a full time content creator, which I'm actually looking for work outside of YouTube now. I'm still planning on doing YouTube as my full time income, but
Hmm.
I basically just want everything that I need to live to not be relying on YouTube because it puts a ri- or just not you, but like speed running, it just puts a
Hmm.
ridiculous amount of stress on like playing video game. Like
Yeah.
it's ridiculous because like I would say like this time last year, um, I dude like the stress I was putting on myself was crazy. I was like, if I if I'm bad at speedrunning or if I don't do this at by this deadline, I'm going homeless. Like that's what I was telling myself. Like it was like that level of like extreme level of stress. So like I remember I'd be playing like Simpsons Hit and Run and then like something out of my control, RNG wise, nothing I could do about it. What happened to me, dude? I would get like not on stream. I'd turn off stream and I'd be not mad. I'd be sad.
Mm.
I would be sad, dude. I would be so depressed,
Yeah.
and it was just not good to have. So I think if I find something where it's like, even if everything wrong happens in the video game and the YouTube and this and that, like I'll be okay. Then I can like enjoy this again. I do enjoy it. It's just
Hmm.
like again that
Stressful.
stress
Yeah.
that stress ratios, and I just couldn't keep it up. I go through burnouts a lot now because I maintained that stress level throughout now. It's just that now that the channel's done well all year and back then, and I'm more financially secure, so I can afford a little bit of burnouts. But I don't. No one wants to burn out, you
No.
know.
Yeah. I mean,
No one
I've
wants
been
to.
I've been going through one right now, so I understand. Yeah,
Yeah,
I care a lot about mental health, so it's definitely important to do
yeah.
whatever is most important for that. And if that's doing something else to feel more sustained and comfortable,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I actually do plan on like going to see like a psychiatrist therapist even for this stuff like next month whenever
Hmm.
there's a big like rush for like December, and I'm good. I'm fine. Like I'm
Hmm.
better than most people, but you know it still does. It affects everybody.
Yeah,
So
therapy has
you have
been
to
good
stay
to
up on
me,
that stuff.
so
Yeah,
I can definitely recommend it if you're if you you think it's right for you. That's always the
Oh
most
yeah.
important thing. Always do what's right for you. That goes for anyone, of
Yep.
course. But yeah, so but
Speedrunning's hard, man.
yeah, oh
It's
my
really
god.
hard.
Yeah, especially when you fall off super hard. When you used to be
Yeah. Oh
good and
yeah.
then quickly aren't as good anymore. Because everyone
Yeah.
has like so much time to dedicate and you just don't have that time because you're
Yep.
old, even though old in speedrun terms, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Oh, is that
interesting.
what you would say you struggle with the most? Is that like you're like speedrunning? You're like, man, I used to be better.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of factors, but
Yeah. Oh
yeah.
no, no. That's yeah. That is one thing. Whenever I talk about this stuff, because I feel like if I speak on one factor, people are like, oh, that's what's. It's like, no, there's like
No, no,
10
no.
things. But
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
But
it's
like
hard
yeah,
to
but like the one that yeah.
yeah, it's hard to
It's hard to
precisely
illustrate to people
yeah.
that don't do it, especially. It's
Mhm.
really hard because I'll be in like a streamer's chat and they're just mad. You know, they're mad
Mhm.
because they just lost their one or whatever, and they're just having a moment, right? You know, they're just having like that moment. Doesn't mean they're an angry person. Doesn't mean
Mhm.
anything, but it's just like it's very frustrating because you have that expected outcome of obviously if you're practicing for something and you have an expected outcome of a speed run, and then when that doesn't occur, well, it doesn't feel good. Like
No.
it's never gonna feel good. You're never gonna have that interaction and have a positive feeling after it. You can have different ways of dealing with it, but it's not going to be positive. So people were like, "Dude, why are you so mad? It's just a game." And it's not that it's deeper than a game, but it's also like when you're doing this stuff and you do it to a certain level, it is like an extension of yourself. It
Mhm.
is how you express yourself, and it is something that is skill that you are trying to genuinely be good at. And it just doesn't feel good to fail when you put in when you're putting in the time and you're putting in the effort, and then the result doesn't happen. Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I completely sympathize with those with the speedrunners that are frustrated, even mad because the game bullshitted.
Mhm.
But like to the viewer that isn't doing that, it's it seems
Mhm.
so weird that oh no, like that didn't happen for you, boo hoo. It's like
Mhm.
come on, man.
Yeah, if they're pissed or really sad or even happy, it's because they're passionate. And
Yeah.
that's what you got to remember. And I don't think people
Hmm.
realize that. They're just like, "Oh, they're just mad because bad or whatever." No, like
Yeah.
well, I
Yeah, they
guess
didn't get
kind
that
of.
far because they didn't care. They're not a world record holder in Super Mario 64 because they didn't care. Like
Yeah,
you
like
have to care.
they care more than you ever will.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. Yeah, just yeah, mental stuff hard in speedrunning, and I'm
Yeah.
actually really
Just
impressed how a lot of people can handle it because
oh yeah.
it
I
has
think
been quite
I
the journey
offset
for me personally.
yeah.
Yeah.
I offset a lot of it with I do powerlifting. So that's
Mm.
been what's helped me a lot is having something outside of speedrunning that it's just me against myself, me against gravity. I really powerlifting just being you do squat, bench, deadlift, and try and get the highest numbers in those three lifts.
Mhm.
So that's helped me a lot mentally, especially because like I was saying like the mental issues would literally just be down to like the speed runs.
Mhm.
Like the my mental anguish. So it was nice to have something where that's similar to speedrunning, very similar, just because it's all a numbers game. It's all numbers.
Mhm.
Um, but I didn't have it. It didn't matter if I didn't perform good one day. It wouldn't change anything. You know, I mean, I still wouldn't be happy about, it, but like it wasn't like the end of the world. Where speedrunning sometimes, and not that I feel like it's the end of the world, but like I'll just be like, if I don't do this, I can't make the video, and I have the video due at this exact date, and if I do that, then this, company I'm working with is gonna be pissed and maybe never sign me again, which is gonna be dramatically affect my income to where I can't keep doing. It's like, dude, it snowball. It's not like so people are looking at it. They see mistaken video game, but they don't see that bigger picture that's going on, I guess.
Mhm. Yeah, it's just
So,
passion. That's what it boils
yeah.
down to because yeah, you wouldn't be there having an emotional reaction if you didn't give a shit. You give a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
shit. That's speedrunning for you.
I I could do anything, dude.
Hmm.
I'm saying like full time. I could do anything. Like I really could do whatever I feel like.
Hmm.
I feel like I'm competent enough, but I choose to do this because I
Hmm.
really like it. So yeah, I'm
Hmm.
super passionate about it. Still am. Like I said, I have a whole notepad of like games that I want to run next year. And honestly, I know that I'm going to be doing this full time up until GTA 6 comes out. I've been kind of waiting for like a big game, like not a big game, but just like a game that like I could just focus on that one game for like extended period of time because I can't do that with anything because like I have to like once the video is posted of like this game I'm speedrunning, I can't go back to it. I can't go spend that time in it ever again. I can't go post more content about that game. It's done. We're done.
Hmm.
Next. So it'd be really cool when GTA 6 comes out. I could like spend a couple months on that honestly. So I've always been looking forward for a game like that. And in hindsight, I should have done it with Elden Ring, but like I think GTA 6 will be a good fit for me. So like a couple of the speedrun projects I have going on right now are playing all the older GTAs.
Mm. Yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to that game. If you
Yeah.
couldn't tell, pretty I'm pretty into the Grand Theft Auto franchise, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's finally.
Well, which one's your
Okay.
favorite thus far?
Whew, that is the question. I haven't played all of them. Um,
Oh, okay. Well,
like I haven't even
I'm
played
assuming you
three,
played
which
San
is
Andreas and like
of
Grand Theft Auto
course.
5,
Hmm.
hopefully, and Vice City.
Vice City San Andreas 4, 5 episodes.
Okay, you've played the like
Yeah,
important ones in my opinion.
yeah.
I think I'm sure a lot of them are good, but yeah, I haven't played all of them either. But like those are like
Chinatown
the
Wars.
yeah, I've watched that one. I haven't played it. But yeah, out of
uh,
those ones that you've played, which one do you think is the best?
um,
I know they're very different games, but
overall, probably 5, just because I put
yeah,
so much time into that, like especially the online thing. But if we're talking like genuine story, like San Andreas,
yeah,
definitely.
I
Yeah.
agree with both of those
Hmm.
statements. I'd say both. Yeah,
But they're all like really good somehow. It's quite impressive. Like they're all like so different almost even. Like even like the
it'd be
3D
really cool if
era.
we had like San Andreas, but it was like Grand Theft Auto 5. Like that level of like world like the
Hmm.
world building and everything like that. Even though
Yeah,
I love San Andreas for what it is, and
mhm.
that's actually going to be running like next month.
Yeah, it's very interesting that in 5 they like chopped San Andreas in half and then just expanded that. I've
Yeah,
always found that really weird. Like it could have been this huge thing. I guess they didn't need to. Like they told the story they
no,
wanted, but it's just very interesting that they did it that way. But yeah, I've never like looked too much into the speedrunning side of things for Grand Theft Auto, ironically enough, because people will ask like, "Why don't you speedrun that? What's in your name?" I'm
Mhm.
like, "I made it when I was 12, man. I don't know." But
Yeah.
it, it's got to be pretty interesting at least. It's pretty popular.
They're pretty broken.
Hmm. I love watching the runs when they show up in like GDQ. I'll go and watch them live a little bit, and I mean, there's some really cool stuff that happens in there, especially more of the like older ones where it's more easy to break them
Hmm.
than the newer ones. But yeah, I definitely need to look into it a little more.
For
So
sure.
yeah, if you start speedrunning older Grand Theft Auto games, I'll watch that. It'll
Sure.
it'll get me into like the speed run side of things, especially make those videos about it. Then I can like actually
Yeah,
better understand how
I
it
think we're
goes.
posting I think we're posting Vice City this month actually. So
Oh, great! This is perfect. But
yeah,
yeah, the funny thing is I've never played 3, which
yeah. I didn't neither have I.
oh, have you played every other game I've said I played? That'd be
But yeah, I
funny.
played 4, 5, and San
Or
Andreas.
if I San
Those are
Andreas.
pretty much, and then Vice City.
Yeah, okay. So I
Well,
guess we have the
only a
same
little bit of Vice
backlog.
City.
But yeah, no,
Yeah,
I've beaten Vice City, but yeah, I'll definitely have to play. I want to play like every game before 6,
yeah.
but that'll be a time commitment. So 2024 plans out here, but yeah,
Yep.
definitely looking
Yeah,
forward
you
to
got time. You got time.
it. Plenty of time, and knowing them, it'll probably be like late 2025 even.
December
So
2025. Yeah.
December 31st. Yeah,
Yeah.
looking forward to it.
Oh my gosh.
Well, unless they delay it, you never know in modern video game
Yeah.
dev stuff.
It's been in development too long for a delay, man. There's no way. There's no way.
Mm, we'll definitely see. It's just funny that like I think it was from when Grand Theft Auto 1 came out to like the last Grand Theft Auto 4 episode has been the same amount of time between 5 and 6.
Yeah.
So it's like every game except
Yep.
for 5, and then 5 and 6 the same time frame. It's crazy how long this game has been there, because 4 and 5 was just like 5 years, and 5 is massive for
Yep.
what it is. So very interesting to see what this will be all about. Oh wait, they did make RDR2. I guess I can't say they did nothing. That
Yeah,
was
they have
pretty
other
big.
projects, but I feel like they'd be separate teams almost.
Yeah, I don't know how their business works, so
True.
their dev teams,
True.
but yeah. Yeah, very interested to see what happens. So nice to hear the future plans involve interesting games. To me, especially. So good stuff, good stuff. Oh yeah, I wanted to mention when you were talking about having the different channels and having to like have those two audiences. It's something I've noticed a lot with like other friends that are content creators now. Like they'll do that split. Well, they'll have like their main content and then like put their speedrun stuff, make a whole new channel for it, and put it over there now or something. Like, yeah, it's definitely, it seems to be like very beneficial to the how your channel performs if it's done that
Yep.
way.
It,
So
it sucks, dude. It sucks that like you cannot be creatively ambitious on YouTube. Like you have to be creative, but not like go outside of your circle. I
hmm
know, like I was talking, I met a bunch of when I went to TwitchCon, I met a bunch of these guys that are like Destiny 2 content creators,
mm
and like they would like I looked at it and like they would post Destiny 2, Destiny 2, Destiny 2, like 100,000 views, 100,000 views, and then they go and try something new, literally 2,000 views.
hmm
Like you're not allowed to go stray. Yeah, the best idea the best thing you can do is just promote the channel, and then people that are interested will go over there and like and and check it out. But you have to build up that audience completely unique.
hmm
Like the people that I see that do it successful have the two separate channels that post two completely different types of
hmm
content,
hmm
and you'll still get like what's nice is if you like a good percentage of that audience, like the people that watch the EZScape channel and the EZScape Speedruns channel, there is a massive overlap for sure.
hmm
They're like both people are like and they're both speedrunning things, so like the channels will pop up and recommended for like the main channel and main channel for the second channel. So you'll still get like you'll still get a good crossover with the algorithm. But as far as posting the content on the same channel, no,
hmm
not worth it, in my
Yeah.
opinion. You have to know
Yeah.
your audience.
Yeah, it's nice that you can make that second channel, and then like the people that are like bigger fans of you will go over
Hmm.
there. So like you can almost treat that second channel as like your like real fans. Like those are the people that care a lot
I
more.
kind of do
hmm
because so many people subscribe to that main channel for so many different reasons, and there's been so many different types of content posted over there. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say like those are like it is and isn't. It's like, dude, I got a 50,000 subscriber bump whenever I posted the Kavera Games video. And they don't know what I post. They don't know anything about it. They just know that like they were literally subscribing just because they was like, screw that guy. Like, like
hmm
almost just for that reason. So like there could be a 50,000 people there that don't care at all about what I post that just
hmm
subscribed from that. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I just definitely see why you need that separation. And
Yep.
to the common viewer, they're not going to understand that because
Right.
they don't know how YouTube works. Like neither do I. I'm learning how it works.
Yeah.
That's what you got to know. So it's just very interesting that that's how YouTube works. But once you understand it, it makes perfect sense. So I think
Mhm.
when obviously when you start making content on the main channel again, like if you make like a notice, people should be able to understand why.
Well,
Hopefully.
like I do want to kind of make a video where I just like I kind of explain where I've been, but I kind of want to wait till it's like closer to where I post the video. But
hmm
also just posting that video like is also strategic.
hmm
Like I don't plan on keeping it up. But I'm saying like when I post that, I'm gonna get hundreds of people unsubscribing. It'd be
hmm
perfect because those people would have like done the same if I posted that next video and like heard it, you know.
hmm
So it's just like it's
It's
so
all
stupid.
strategic. All part
It's
of the
literally
master
it's
plan.
literally a strategy, but because like I don't know, the channel hasn't. By the time I post on it, wouldn't have had a video on it for like a whole year. So
hmm Yeah.
But I do plan on coming back with an absolute banger.
Hell
Gonna
yeah.
need
I'd love to
It's just
hear
gonna
it.
need time to cook. Like it's like I at least have that one really good idea that I'm like waiting on. That I The only reason why I haven't executed it yet is because um I want I want it to be like as good as there's so many content creators now. I want it to be
Mhm.
as good as what they post.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
makes
like a
sense.
really cohesive like video essay, like to a level of like what H Bomber just posted, but just not 4 hours long. So
Mhm.
30 minutes of the H Bomber level of quality, I guess, for example.
Yeah. I mean, sounds cool. I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to it. The return,
I just want to
even
say
though.
what the idea is, because
No, I'm not gonna make you say that.
yeah,
Obviously, I know how YouTube works. So,
yeah.
yeah, it's funny. I keep like spewing my ideas. I need to stop doing that in case I ever actually go through with it. My lazy ass needs to actually do that, though. We'll see.
Do you have ambitions of creating like edited like
I have for a
video essay
while.
content?
Yeah, like I made a script like 2 years ago, but I mean, reading it now, I don't like it. But it's so hard to do
That's
it,
fine.
and like it's a huge time commitment, and yeah, there's like a lot of factors. It's hard to explain them all. But I have like one really good one, and I've talked to some content creator friends about it, and they're like, "Oh my god, do it!" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay," but then I never do because it's like, it's hard to like
I totally get it.
hard to
It's
get
one of
over the
those things
bridge.
that you're just gonna have to rip the band-aid, but also it's just gonna have to be like once you know that you have the time to commit to it, you don't have to grind it out or anything, but it's literally just gonna be like you do it every day, you work on it a little bit, 30 minutes to an hour, and you'll notice like some days you'll just end up like doing a little bit more than that. But yeah, it
Hmm.
eventually will get done if you stick to it and you have to make a game plan like that. Just like how you got good at literally anything that you do.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's there can be a lot of anxiety with making a video like that because you're
Oh
really
yeah.
putting yourself out there creatively, and you also don't want to put a lot of time into something for it to potentially flop.
Hmm.
Could be a could be an I'm not saying these are all things for you, but I'm just saying like
Yeah.
it could be like an ego hit, and
Hmm.
it's and maybe you don't know how to do a lot of the things with certain video editing and that you might want to do. But I'm saying you just have to like do like 30 minutes to an hour every day, and you're like you might have to spend an hour learning how to do a certain transition the way that you wanted to do, but
Hmm.
it I'd love to see it if you have like a really good video idea. I'll definitely drop a sub and hope one day at some point that you go through with it. It'd be really cool.
Yeah.
I love seeing people come out with speedrun content.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a bunch of like friends start doing it. Now they're like doing really well. It's pretty impressive, like just how many people do it now. When it used to be just a few people. And that wasn't even that long ago. So it's all spread up
Mhm.
pretty quickly. The speedrun community is just like exponentially growing. It's kind of crazy. At least over the past few years.
I don't even know if I don't even know if that's true. Like as far as like I think the people that were speedrunning before are the same people speedrunning now.
I guess
I
more
think
just
that
creation, more
like people
specifically.
watching, yeah,
Yeah.
people watching speedruns on YouTube especially has
Hmm.
definitely gone up. But like I
Yeah.
don't even know if I consider those people part of the speedrunning community. I don't know if I don't consider it, but um
Yeah. I
but
guess it's hard to know
here's
for sure.
here's an anecdote that I always use to when people like say because this is why whenever people are like, "Oh, speedrunning is growing," this is what I hit them with is okay. I posted a Family Guy speedrunning video like last year, got over a million views, right? And the entire video, I pretty much I'm literally explaining and showing how to do everything. The video can literally double over as a tutorial, but if you wanted to learn, there's other ways to learn as well. But
Hmm.
so you would think with a million people being interested in this enough to watch it and watch like the vast majority of the video, that you would think that we would get a bump in speedrunners.
Hmm.
And the amount of people that we got after that video was posted was like one. We got
Hmm.
one person. We got one person to do a speed run of it after the fact.
Not zero. There you
So
go.
not zero, but like
Success.
one out of a million people were
Yeah.
inspired to go do it. So like the speedrun community, like actual speedruns haven't grown too much from what I noticed.
Yeah, and I mean, it makes sense. Like, obviously, the casual YouTube viewer just wants to watch what it is. They don't want to like perform anything themselves. But there's also that what a lot of people think that are more casual viewers. It's like, oh, I can't do this. Like, they don't realize like it's not hard to get into. They'll
It
see
it
it
does
and they're
seem
like,
daunting.
it's yeah, it seems daunting. It seems like a huge time commitment and a lot of other things. But it's really not. You can take it at any pace you want. And again, and also maybe they think about it and they're like, oh, I wouldn't have fun with that. And yeah, that's fair. But I don't know, if
Yeah.
it sounds interesting, you think you'd have fun with it, like it's not going to be a massive like strain or time commitment or stress thing if you take it with a mindset that like isn't to be perfect or anything. It's just literally fun. And I think a lot of people that are more casual don't really see that right away.
Yeah, I always tell people if they're like somewhat like on the border of being interested in it, I'm like, well, you don't know unless you try,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't like just stop watching like the world record or watching the most like prolific speedrunner, and then like psyching yourself out about doing it because you don't have to impress anybody, but just do 3 runs, and then after that you can decide if you're interested in it or not. At least do 3, like just do, and that can include your casual playthrough. So do a second casual playthrough if you already played the game before. I don't know why you're deciding to speedrun a game you never played, but some people do that. And then uh do another one where you like just try and beat it faster than last time, and then maybe go watch like a beginner tutorial, and then maybe go do a little practice, and then do your third one, and then at that point you will definitely know if you like this or not.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people that would otherwise like it just never try it at all. So
Yeah, you definitely expect to see more overlap than what the result is. And I think that's one thing, and there could be a bunch of factors. Like it's impossible to
mhm.
know for sure, but
Oh,
that's
we're
something to
doing something
notice.
extremely niche. How many
Oh
people
yeah.
wanna play a video game a second time? Like, from their perspective, you've already
Hmm.
experienced it, and you're just experiencing the same thing again.
Yeah, it's crazy how like niche it is, but like how popular it is to
Mhm.
view. Like it's
Yeah.
fascinating to me. Like even back in the day, like GDQ was doing really well for its time in the early 2010s. Like it's not just now. Like, and that was like super super niche. But I don't know. Speedrunning's very interesting, and with
I
how
think,
its numbers work.
GDQ has fallen off a bit in terms of because there's so many speedrun content creators, and now people have a selection of content that they can
Yeah.
interact with, and I think that, yeah, the marathon run format just, in modern times, well, also back then, like speedrunning was new. Like when if you watch a Super Mario 64 run back then with Cyclemic,
Hmm.
there was no alternative like that, and it was also the first time a lot of these people were seeing it and ever seen it explained. Where dude, we've since then, dude, how many times have I had SM64 mechanics explained to me? Like how
Hmm.
many times have I had it? Too many.
Dude,
So you
imagine
have
a
to like.
bus. Oh my god. Yeah.
So but yeah, they're definitely like losing the battle in terms of like creative content ideas.
Hmm.
Just to the fact that somebody can cover the run and like tomato, like I'd rather watch a tomato anus video that covers a world record spot by spot, frame by frame, than watching a less polished run done in a marathon setting that with a potentially like really like nervous runner, just
Hmm.
so sometimes that format's really 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 good. I'm saying that, like, I would say more often than not though, it is not better.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's not. And I mean, hey, like I said, the views reflect it. So,
Yeah.
like, it's
It
one thing
is
to
a
have a stream
shame.
on.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's one like the GTQ stream has fallen off a bit, but still does really well. That's because it's different to have like a stream on in the background compared to like when you're on
Hmm.
YouTube, you're going to be a bit more selective with your content that you decide to watch. So,
And also GDQ's like supporting a cause that people care about usually. That's definitely
yeah.
gonna help.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like yeah, it's definitely different. But yeah, I definitely understand like it can reflect on it not do performing as well as it used to because there's just loads of content about it now. But yeah, I'm
Also,
actually
they don't
glad it
have me
does well.
sorry. They don't have me making their thumbnails anymore, so that's the
Oh, were you a
biggest
thumbnail maker?
I used to do thumbnails, and also I made the official highlights back in the day. But then like right when
Mm.
COVID hit, um like there was no in-person events. I'm like, I'm not making a highlight video over the online stuff. Like it's just not
Yeah.
as cool.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think that is another factor of why it kind of went down a little bit because yeah,
Yeah.
obviously online isn't going to be as interesting and they're now it looks like it's finally back fully. Like I know
Yeah.
SGDQ's been back for a couple of years, but yeah, hopefully it
Yeah.
can
I think
start
they
getting its
finally.
momentum back again.
Okay. I think they finally have it where not everybody has to be masked up as well. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it works out, I guess. Because there was some issues last year or this year. Um
Oh yeah.
there's a little outbreak, so hopefully
Yeah.
everything's fine now. But yeah, it just sounds like we're getting back into like GDQ being a normal twice a
Mm-hmm.
year event again, and hopefully that can help it get back to where it was. Because I see like these annoying tweets about how it's fallen off. Oh my god, GDQ is dead. It's so annoying because no, it's doing perfectly fine. It's racing 2 million easily every
Mm-hmm.
time. Like it's doing all right.
Yeah. People will like speedrun relevancy. I actually like looked this up, and speedrun relevancy, depending on what like went up dramatically when the GDQ was going on.
Mhm.
Like the relevance of speedrunning was tied to GDQ. So I totally get why people even cared whether or not GDQ was successful because it literally means whether or not their hobby is doing well in the eyes of the public. But now it's no longer the case anymore.
Mhm.
So even if GDQ fails or doesn't isn't as successful, it's not gonna really make a dent in what we're doing.
Yeah, but I don't think it'll fail personally.
No,
Like
I don't think so either.
they're like an established thing now, and I mean, who doesn't want to support a good cause? So, I mean, I think they're fine. Like, yeah, I was just tired of seeing whenever they announce a new event, there's always like, or like an event ends and it didn't raise 3 million, it only raised 2.5.
No.
Oh my God, GDQ falling off. It's $2.5 million. That's not small.
Yeah. No,
They're
not
doing all
definitely
right.
not.
They're doing all right.
It was definitely weird to like go register from GDQ and like, dude, if you like slept through it, you were screwed. Like
It would just like 5
you,
minutes. It'd be full.
yeah,
Yeah.
it just gone. So now it was like, dude, I literally like, oh yeah, GDQ. Let me go register real quick. I'm probably screwed. Oh, and then it's like
Not
400
even
out of
half.
like
Yeah.
1,200 like registers. So
It's nice to not have to stress about that anymore. But I mean, over time, it'll definitely pick back up again. Like obviously, a lot of people that want to go are still not comfortable with things, and yeah, perfectly
yeah,
fine. So it's still gonna take some time to get back to where it was. But I mean, that's everything with the pandemic. So I mean, it
yeah.
makes sense.
I'll
But
be
yeah,
at the next one because it's in Pittsburgh and I live in Ohio, so it's just it's not too far of a drive for me this time. So
I'll be there because
it'll be
I'm in
fun.
it. So
Oh, are you? I didn't even know.
yeah, this is the second time in a row I've gotten in last day. So like the big old Saturday bonanza. It's kind of weird because
Hmm.
the only other time I was in was the first online event.
Yeah.
So it's weird to have submitted for like all these years and it's like, oh, here's your back-to-back amazing slot. It's like, oh, okay, that's not. But I mean, I can't be stressed or anything. My last run went perfect. I have no complaints.
Well, I
So
guess I'll catch you in like a month here.
yeah, it's coming up. That's for sure. It starts on my birthday, so that's hype. Perfect timing for me. But yeah, um, how
Yeah,
many
we'll have
GDQs?
to link up when that
Yeah.
comes around.
Oh yeah. How many GDQs have you been to? I know you were at 2020 AGDQ.
Maybe since oh man, I have a hard time remembering. Can't remember if it was 2018 or 2019 I started going.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere around there. Been to a couple. Let's say like 4 or 5. Probably 4. No, I don't know. I always forget. It was like I'll end up like forgetting what happened at which one,
Mm.
and I'll get them all like mixed together.
You remember the snowstorm?
Mm,
That was a
maybe.
that was a 2019. Let I just remember because I missed my flight. 'Cause there's so much
Oh, really?
snow.
I never even like think about snow because I'm in Ohio. It's
Yeah. Yeah, Illinois
like,
gets
oh, is there a
some.
snowstorm going
So
on? I'm wearing shorts. Like I don't know.
yeah. But yeah, I've been to every in-person one except S 2019 since S 2018. So that's my
Mm,
like it's just too fun to not go. So I
yeah,
make it happen, and it's nice when you have an excuse by getting in that, oh well, I have to now. I mean, I have.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah. Have you ever like got a run in or done commentary or anything?
Uh, commentary, yes, sort of. I was on the couch for like a monkey ball run for
Mm.
Zella. Um, I was on the couch for Spyro 2, and I think that's it. Other than that, I volunteered with the working on stuff, but
Hmm.
I don't submit even. I
Yeah.
Because the problem with me and like marathon runs is that like I was saying before, is that if I go submit Family Guy, it's like I've already done haven't speed ran Family Guy now, and like by the
Hmm.
time the event comes around, like months and months and months, and I literally have to go out of my way to speedrun a game I haven't speedrun in a while when I could just be picking up like other projects. Like obviously, I could help out and like raise money for charity, but the other thing is like I'm not the best runner for these games,
Hmm.
so why would it even be me? Like if I'm the best runner that submits, sure. Like it's kind of like I feel like it's in the ballpark of those top runners to like go show off their game rather than me that's like picking it up just for a slot for visibility at GDQ, which not to be too arrogant, I do not need it. So
That's
I'm
fair.
doing it wouldn't change anything that I'm doing if I got like a big bump from GDQ, which I don't even think really happens too much anymore. I don't think
It
really.
doesn't. I can tell you firsthand.
Yeah, I mean, it used to it with certain people.
Hmm.
You would have to have a really like good performance, but I mean, out of
Yeah.
curiosity, sometimes I would like go check out like Social Blade numbers and like see, oh, like because people would always talk about it, so I needed evidence whether or not that was the case. And yeah, I would see sometimes like people go up a couple thousand, but then I'd see people go up like 3 followers.
Hmm.
So um you have to like really really shine at a GDQ in order to really benefit in that regard. So
Yeah.
it,
Um, like my personal experiences. So, had a run at SGQ 2023. It was Saturday, so like Saturday afternoon, peak time, probably like 80,000 people watching. I had one of the best performances I could ever ask for. Numerous people even told me it was like the highlight of the marathon, which okay. I don't know about that, but I'll take the compliment, I guess. But I probably
for
got like
sure, for sure.
100 followers.
That's actually good for GDQ standards at this point.
I
Like
guess,
100
but from what
probably.
I've heard in the past, that's like nothing in
No,
comparison.
no, in the past, no, it
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah,
Well, people
that's
didn't
my
know how to
point.
find speedrun content creators outside of GDQ. So yeah,
Hmm.
once they did it, like they actually were kind of doing it for to shop around for streamers to watch. Now people kind of
Yeah.
like get this.
And
Like,
also now they have the shout out command. So they like actually GDQ does that. They use the shout out
oh,
command.
that's true.
So that's also where they make it so it pops up on screen and you click a button. So it's like
Yeah, so
easier than it
you would
ever
think it
could
would be
be.
easier.
Yeah. So that's also
Huh.
a factor. But yeah,
Hmm.
it's just kind of unfortunate because yeah, now even if you get into GDQ, like you'd have to like self promote yourself for people to want to do that, and you don't really want to self promote during a charity event. It's like there's nothing wrong with it, but also it doesn't feel great. Like I get both
Yeah.
sides, so I don't know. It's just hard to like get a following from being on GDQ when it apparently used to be like really nice.
I mean, people are making careers off of it. Like literally their speedrunning Twitch career is going to be based whether or not they got a slot at GDQ. Like it was
That's
definitely a real
crazy.
thing.
That's just crazy to think about.
Because like all year they're going to go like the amount of followers that they would get each year is going to like double because they got a GDQ spot. And
Mm-hmm.
like now that Twitch is all numbers game, so it's
Mm-hmm.
all, if you have a higher number, it's you have more visibility, and now you can get more numbers and more visibility, and then it just snowballs. That's why like the big streamers always hold their slots. So like it was like really important to get that, but
Mm-hmm.
glad people are wisening up to how YouTube you can shine
Mm-hmm.
without having a good, like a solid based audience to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah, I've definitely seen people like just make one video and they made it well, and it there it goes.
Yep.
Congratulations. But I guess that ties back into something I forgot to mention about like starting YouTube, because you were talking about how like you look back at like your first video, it's like, ah, could have been a lot better. But it is important
Yeah.
to like release something. You if you're gonna start, release something.
Oh yeah.
And, like it, yeah, it's not gonna be great, but it's important to just get it out there because that's how it starts, and then you can build off of that. So you can't let it like deter you from, just because it's not like perfect, you don't have all the fancy equipment or whatever. You can't let that deter you from starting at all. That's what I've been told, at least.
Yeah, you just have to do the best you can. But yeah, there's no shouldn't like not make something because
Hmm.
you didn't have a certain mic. Like I was always just like posting the content. Any dollar I made off of content, I was just reinvesting back into it. So eventually, yeah, I did get the mic, I did get the computer, I did get the camera, and like all that stuff. But like, yeah, and starting out, now it was like I was balling off the laptop mic. So
Hmm. There you go. A lot of people started with like terrible phone mics and now are have like actual good quality. It's actually funny how
yeah,
many I've seen start that way, which I mean, like, makes perfect sense. It's just funny to think about. But yeah, so for your, I guess, main and second channel, I'm just curious, do you have like a favorite video or something you'd recommend people check out?
um, I would say either the Family Guy video, or I am very partial towards, and this is on the second channel, very partial towards my Dragon Ball Z Sagas video.
Hmm.
It's like one of the worst video games I've ever played, but I really enjoyed it. The project. I actually that's one of the ones I actually got world record in. But
Ooh.
it's like the whole, like it was a whole like that one I was actually able to give like a whole like world record history and breakdown, and like include everybody that found every strat in there. And um it's a video that I went back and watched again. Like I don't really go back and watch my own videos, but I watched that one back and I still really enjoyed it. So if you like Dragon Ball Z for whatever reason, or Dragon Ball Z Sagas, and you have heard of it or played it, that one, you can literally just type in Dragon Ball Z Saga speedrun and it'll pop up. But if not, and you're like, the Family Guy one has some really cool trick. Like it's actually a very very solid speed game. Like really cool. Um,
Hmm.
just a handful of runners managed to figure out like so much stuff in it. Like the amount of talent within the speedrunning community, albeit small, is like really impressive. So
Hmm.
um, yeah, that would be another really good one to watch, I think.
And those are both on the second channel, right?
Yeah, yeah. I guess like I more just sort of think about the second channel because that's more my more recent work. So I think
Hmm.
it's more relevant, but also I just think it's better because I made it more recently.
Yeah. Do you have like a must-watch main channel as well?
Mm, I don't know. I think the theoretical speedruns, even though Bscape, who helps me with the channel stuff, he actually made that one. Well,
Hmm.
like I oversee stuff, and yet like when I said like we're doing Vice City this one, although I haven't been playing it, I was like, how are we doing that? It's actually Bscape. He is going to be making that one, which it's gonna be kind of a curveball to have somebody else speedrun on my channel, but
Hmm.
he'd always like pick up projects and even post on the main channel, just because like I don't have infinite time, unfortunately, and infinite hands,
Hmm.
and still want have content that I want to make.
Yeah.
So I do have people that help me with stuff, but on the main channel, I don't know. That one was probably most creative tool assisted speedruns. That would be the
Mm.
one. That I really enjoyed that video.
That's cool. Yeah, tasks are sick, especially when they are more creative focused. That's for sure. Like
Yeah,
the ace
I found
runs.
like all of the most weirdest playground tasks that they have on task videos, and got a hold of like all of the taskers, and so it's all accurate and like showcases it all pretty well. And I think my editing was pretty solid that video too. So, yeah, that one would probably be it.
All right. Um, I think I've covered most of everything I wanted to
Yeah,
talk about. It seems like we've gone over most of everything. If there's anything I missed, let me know. But
not too much.
yeah, I think I covered
Not that I
most of
can
it.
think of.
Yeah, you even kind of talked about future plans. So you co-stream Twitch and YouTube, right? On your second channel and then
Uh,
YouTube.
so I do only when I'm speedrunning. If I'm doing speedrun
Hmm.
practice or casual playthroughs, I just keep it over on Twitch.
Got it.
But
Got
whenever I have like a speedrun or a speedrun grind I'm dedicating to, yeah, it goes up on both. Um, I was doing it before it was cool.
it. So yeah, and those are the attempts that can eventually lead to that second channel video covering everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what to watch, I suppose. So.
Although like today I'm gonna be just only streaming over on like I told you before that I'm doing a Spyro trilogy refund Steam refund,
Hmm.
and because I only get one chance at it and I don't plan on having chat on screen, I actually just plan on keeping it pretty plain with just a timer in the bottom left, just gameplay.
Hmm.
I like to do that for 16:9 games so that I'm not covering up stuff,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I don't like
And then
covering
four
up
by
stuff either.
yeah, for 4x3 I'll and I like it to be the biggest that it can possibly be
Hmm.
on frame, because you have to think people might be watching on their phone. So
Yeah.
I like to make sure that the game size is like as big as it can possibly be. So
Hmm.
yeah, today I won't be doing that because I just don't want any additional like it's not even any more pressure. I just like want to focus on the run because I get one chance to do it. It's well, I
Hmm.
don't. I have infinite. I have as much as it's that's in my bank account. So
Hmm.
uh to get the refund.
Yeah, so that's beat the entire game in the. So what do they give you? 2 hours before you
beat
can
beat
refund it?
beat all three games is
Oh
what I'm
yeah,
doing.
all of them.
All of them, and within 2 hours. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I plan
so.
on doing that for Spyro, and then I also plan on doing all three Crash Bandicoot games. That's gonna be the next project,
That's a very
and
fascinating
then
challenge.
and
Like
then
works
this
out
month,
perfectly.
yeah. Oh yeah, no, it's interesting. This month where I'm also gonna be doing a task commentary over the Brawl Super Smash Bros. Brawl 100% Subspace Emissary, and then we have Vice City. So
Mm,
my month is all like planned out.
yeah. It reminded that kind of challenge reminds me of like the Ocarina of Time 5 minute trial and the masterpieces
Oh
of
yeah, yeah,
Brawl.
yeah, for sure.
It's funny. Uh, because you brought up like task stuff, that reminded me of like the little uh bounties. You had like some bounties for certain speedrun stuff.
Yeah. I did two videos. I did one where I went and found all the oldest speedruns and I put out some really small bounties. People were almost insulted by them, but I was like, these aren't even like difficult runs to beat. They just happen to be the longest standing ones on speedrun.com because we just data mined it,
Hmm.
and that's what we found. And then I did another one where I covered the biggest bounties that were currently active at the time. So those were two ones that I did, and then I think speedrun bounties is actually they do 'em there's a website called Game Ventures that's ran
Hmm.
by OmniGamer where you can actually find quite a few now.
Yeah, but were you involved in like the big Mario 64 one?
Excuse me. Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
What had happened there is, I had heard about that guy pulling out before, like, these guys were running all year, with in the back of the mind, they weren't doing anything different than they
Hmm.
would've been, but, like, they had the idea that they would be, um that there would be a bounty at the end of it that they could potentially cash out on, and the guy just pulled out. And that was around the same time that I'd taken a sponsor that people weren't happy with. And like looking back at it, like there was nothing wrong with what I had done, but I was like so like um I mean, I just took the criticism and I was like, "Oh, okay, so people weren't cool with this. Like let's do something cool out of it." And even
Hmm.
after I posted it, people were like, "Oh yeah, you didn't really have to do that. Like, there's nothing wrong with what you did." But at the time, I thought that I was doing something wrong, so I wanted to make a right out of it. And
Mhm.
I was like, I took all of the profit of that sponsor money and I put it towards um the bounty, which it was only like $1,000, and that was only a tenth of what the bounty was prior. But I was like, okay, guys, here it is. And then I was contacted by some dude, random guy. He's like, "Hey man, I got extra money just lying around. Like, how about I send you a check for $4,000?" And I'm like, "Uh, that's on you, bro. But if you want to, sure." And it came up in my mailbox. I cashed it, and it went through. I'm like, "Well, bye." No, yeah, just left and never did YouTube again. No, but yeah, so that cash, and then I had 5 grand, and then I got approached by Ballistics Gaming, I believe, and they were like, "Hey, we saw your video about this, and we wanted to match your like $1,000, and I was like, "Oh, actually, no, that's okay. This guy already came through with 4,000. Yeah, I mean, like if you guys really want to, I guess we can, but I don't even want to go make another update and like what's a 5,000 to $6,000. Like we don't really have to like do that." And
Mhm.
they were like, "Oh, well, if that's the case," and he went back and talked to the marketing team. He's like, "Okay, yeah, we'll actually put in 5,000 because they didn't want to be outshined by some
Mm.
random guy. They didn't want a whole company to be outshined by random guy, random nameless guy." So they gave another 5,000 actually, and then returned the $10,000. And then ESA decided to also like reached out to me. I wasn't involved in any way with what they were doing, but they were kind of just like letting me know that they were planning on doing the the break the record event. And
Mhm.
then they did that, flew everybody out, and then Cheese made an absolute bag off that because
Yeah.
he ended up getting the prize money from that and also won the bounty. Because
Mhm.
I ended up doing it like towards like the end of the month type deal or something like that. I think that they just contacted me to make sure the bounty would still be active during the competition, and then shortly thereafter it ended. So, um, yeah, I was involved with orchestrating that, but it was only about $1,000 of my own money. Wasn't like the full 10 grand coming out of my
Mhm.
pocket. Not money bags like that, but yeah, that's how that all unfolded.
Yeah. I just remember that being a big deal for
Yeah,
speedrunning at the time because I mean, it led to a ton of competition to break the record thing, and that was a huge event, and it paid
I feel like
off.
it
I
had
mean,
some like Oh yeah, I had some like adverse effects as well. Like I didn't realize how badly mentally it kind of like affected a lot of the SM64 guys because
mm,
before they were kind of doing all their own runs at their own pace or whatever, and like taking them out and like putting them like they almost feel like they have to do it because they were already doing it anyways. So it just kind of like
mhm,
in a way kind of like force them into this competition. Like overall, still like positive. Like they were able to like they're all full time guys and now they're able to compete for money, but it was like a whole different aspect to what they were doing. Like it was completely different. Like it was like
mhm,
just that head to head competition type deal. It was different change of pace for them. Like I know simply at the most recent pace, they did the same format again. He's like, yeah, I don't think I'm doing this again. Just like
mhm.
pretty stressful.
Yeah, I definitely see that. Like, definitely competing for money is very different, and that kind of like takes the joy out of it. I definitely see that, and that's why I probably wouldn't want to do something with bounty unless it was like an event. Like it, if it's a live event thing, that's different. That,
Yeah.
but yeah, if it's just like $100 for the first person to get this, go ham. It's like I don't know. If it's just weird, so I definitely see that. But
Well, in a way, I like reaped what I sowed, right? Because gave a whole spiel about how it affected me mentally, like basically doing this for money or like having to get a certain speedrun time in order to be able to like
mhm,
do all this. So it's funny how like I didn't quite it's not that I didn't understand their perspective. It just never crossed my mind. That I thought that me offering money to do this that could negatively impact somebody. And overall, it was more positive than negative.
Mm-hmm.
But I just at the point didn't understand that. And then now it's funny how it came full circle that I started doing like the speed runs full time, like not making speedrunning content, but speed running full time. And I'm like, oh yeah, this kind of sucks.
It all makes sense now, huh?
It does. I definitely resonate more with how they were feeling back then, and now I understand it. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
But yeah, well, there was also like a Mario 64 tassing bounty thing, right?
Oh yeah, I did do a task competition for Super Mario 64 with Ted.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to do it again, but I just haven't had the time to really go through and orchestrate something like that. I have to be kind of like, I do have to be kind of like selective with the ideas that I'm doing on the second channel. So I was kind of waiting for it to drop off so I could like go do another. Because if I do a part two or a second competition, it's probably not going to do as well as the first one. So I've kind of
Mm-hmm.
just been dragging my feet on doing that again. But yeah, we did that. They pretty much just did all the work because they were going to do it anyway. So I was just giving them a prize pool, right? I was just basically the sponsor for it. And
Mm-hmm.
then for the grand finals, I hopped on commentary with Ted, and people really enjoyed it. It was really fun, and it's really cool because these guys are like mad geniuses
Oh
and
yeah.
really really smart.
Yeah, I've loved watching the Mario 64 task competitions that he hosts for years, and now I'm
Yeah.
like friends with a lot of those taskers now,
Hmm.
so it'd be cool to watch them show their stuff in that sort of situation again because I missed out on the first one, I think. Maybe I didn't. I don't remember it, so that's all. I'll have to
It was a
review it
while
again.
ago.
It was a while ago. But yeah, um cool stuff was done. um
For sure. It was crazy. Whenever we did, I think we had like 1,000 viewers too. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, his Ted's streams of the competitions do get quite a bit of viewers, but yeah, nothing like that at all. That's
Yeah,
another
we were
level.
multi-streaming on my main channel back then,
I
and
see.
then we had done my Twitch at the same time too. So it's pretty pumping.
Yeah, it's cool content. So I'm glad it gets to be showcased in that way. And people can make a little something off their hard work. Always a good time.
Oh, for sure. It's all good
Like,
and fun.
oh yeah, but yeah, I think now I run out of things to talk about. So glad I remembered that at the last second,
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
guess. But yeah,
It's almost like I almost like forget until you mention. I'm like, oh yeah, I did do that. That's right.
yeah, I remember some things, but my memory is only so good. So
Yeah.
I
Well,
think
once I work on something. Oh
yeah,
god, sorry.
yeah. I was just gonna say I think now it's run dry though. So
Yeah. Once I do a project and I move on, I sometimes forget that I'm like, oh yeah, I did do that.
I mean that's fair.
So
It sounds like you do a lot of things, so I
I
understand.
do. At this point, I've ran a lot of games too, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I did run that, and yeah, if I popped in the disc right now, yeah, I'd know what to do. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
there
that's right.
somewhere. It just needs to
Yeah.
be unlocked, I guess. But yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, if we're happy with what we've talked about, I think we can wrap things up here. It sounds like
We
we
covered
covered every.
everything.
Yeah. So,
Hope
yeah,
everybody enjoyed listening. That was here for it.
yep. If there's any questions, feel free to ask now. And yeah, I know I've kind of self-promoted a little bit, but if there's anything you want to say in the promotion side of things, feel free. I'll do the shout out command while I remember it exists.
All good. EZScape or EZScape speedruns. You can find it. You can figure it out. It'll be all right.
It's all the links are either on stream right now or in the YouTube description. Those are good
You
places to look.
you want to check out some like obscure adult animated sitcom TV shows be speed ran because they had some shovelware license game through that bought a license for it and made a game for it, and then we broke it and speed ran it, and you want to watch the progression of those, that's what I do. I'm probably like the only guy doing it, so you can't really go anywhere else, unfortunately. I'm sorry. If you don't like how I sound, or if you didn't like the way I did it, well, you don't have an alternative.
Too
So,
bad it's mandatory.
yep.
But yeah, all
That was a
right.
big reason why I picked those, because like I was like, man, this could be really successful. No one's doing it, and then I was right.
There you go. That's all you need. Good idea, get it out there, and boom, easy. Escape.
Yep.
So, anyway, yeah, we can wrap things up here. Thanks everyone for
Cool.
watching. Uh, yep. If you're watching on Twitch, missed anything, it'll be on YouTube shortly. If you're watching on YouTube, stream these live on my Twitch. Follow each other, I guess. And yeah, stay tuned for next week. All right, have a good one. Bye bye.
Later, guys.